Small and Mighty, and today we're going on an adventure.
Yeah.
How are we all doing, everyone? You all excited?
All right.
Very.
Oh boy.
Very, very excited.
Very
Oh, boy.
tea.
Yay.
Good.
Very deep.
Don't have to. Good. I'm glad. So, as always, we're going to play some D&D today. We're going to play for about 2 to 3 hours. We're about a short break, about an hour in. As always, this is D&D, this is improv. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? So don't hold us too closely to those times. But yeah, inspiration token. I have it in my notes that Tali has it from last session. Chad gave it to, well, Will gave it to Sarah for not telling Will something.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. There's an entire thing that I
You have no idea because you were away at that time.
So
So that's exciting. But yeah, I'll do a little bit of recap of last session. I haven't done recap questions because I didn't quite have time, so we might have to kind of all chip in a little bit here and do this together. But essentially, last session was a downtime period. So you all kind of went off and did your own little things, and various things were done. Someone throws words at me. Going, what did we do last session?
Fixed
We
the
had a
pub.
good time.
Yep, we spent quite a bit of time fixing pubs. We had a bit of an out-of-character portion of the show where we had a big mirror board up and we just went through what do we want to upgrade the pub. We eventually settled on some quite nice changes. So we are going to get like a panic room, I think was the plan. I think we can bring the board back up and actually read through it.
the watchtower, guard
Bring
We've
tower,
got a little watchtower.
reinforced
Bring the board
doors
back.
and windows.
Na.
Here we go, I've got that now. So, you have a panic room and a safe in the cellar. You have alarm bell / watchtower. You've got a new water well in the yard. You've reinforced / improved the windows. You've reinforced the doors. And you've hired one mercenary, who we rolled randomly, and this turned out to be a spellcaster called Ian.
Oh,
Who's an elf.
the kleptomaniac.
Yeah.
Yay.
The kleptomaniac Ian. The elf.
1 second. I want to put it to the stream, but I was very
Nah.
late.
Not
There
worth
it is. It's only gonna
Okay.
be there for 3, 2, 1. Aha! You missed it. Good. Bullying the
Sneak peek.
chat.
So yes, we spent quite a bit of time talking about the upgrades to the 5 fellows, and we settled on some nice choices. Yes, and then when we came back from our break, we went to sort of downtime proper. I remember that we had Christina and Pebble doing some reading in the library, trying to research into various things here and there. I think Tali, you spent some time down in the alchemist lab and learning a little bit more about the disease grey mark. That,
Yeah, or the Necrom Yarlow.
Necrom Yarlows, it's maybe
That's the
actually
one.
called.
Yeah.
And also in
Uh,
the library, you're learning about vampires, but we're not gonna say that.
Learning a bit about vampires, which we won't do too much of a recap on to save someone. That was happening. Brathia, you were just helping out with the pub, that's fine. Chad, you wrote a very official letter to
Oh my god, that was epic.
an ally of your father's and potentially your own ally going forward. Which you'll have to watch back our old stream to read that through because I'm not rereading it because it was quite wordy.
He's gonna get
Christina.
married. Tali's gonna do the ceremony. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be
Yes.
fantastic. I'm gonna carry
Yeah.
the ring.
Long story short, Chad wants to
Pebble
pick
can
up
do the catering.
Pebble with
Oh.
the catering. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long story short, Chad sent a letter to Timoth, Lord Timoth of Augustria, an ally of your father's. Your father was trying to set up a political alliance between your family and theirs, and you've just basically gone, I'll set that relationship myself anyway, since the plan was for you to be married to Lord Timoth's daughter. Of course, you are now doing this with the intention of basically having your own power base to combat your father instead of your father's actual intentions. But yes, that has been set out. And I think your hero token was used on the persuasion check that I was going to ask to go with it. So, good things can only come from it, which is excellent.
Yeah.
But you'll have to wait a bit of a while because I realised that in the 2 days of downtime that you're having, there is no way you're going to have a response because it won't even arrive at Augustia in that time.
Not even remotely. But
So you're not going to see a response to that for a little while.
So in game time, that'll be like a couple of weeks, which will probably translate to 2 years time.
Yeah, we'll probably pick that up in like maybe next year, like February or March.
Yeah, good.
Knowing the pacing we go at. But at which point you would have forgotten about it again. Oh yeah.
Oh, I was gonna get married. Yeah.
And also on the similar subject, Christina, you persuaded is a loose term, but convinced a Creador to head back to your home nation of South Costrand and basically hit up one of the druids there of the faith of Eos, the knowing one, to find out if they knew anything about Archimedes. A Creador was quite, as always, difficult to deal with.
Oh, Dora, mate.
But
Please
don't
chill
tell me
out.
that. But did reluctantly agree and disappeared. Off to go do that for you. So that one, obviously not being an actual physical letter, is you don't know when or if you will get a response and how that will come to you. But chances are possibly quicker than a written letter. And I think that was roughly it, unless I'm missing anything that anyone can remember.
What was the thing that I brought from the pub?
Troll's
Tali?
blood.
No,
Oh, some
With
blood.
Ross,
Yeah,
Ross got the troll's blood right for the.
Yeah, I
Yes,
brought
you
a
only-
whole
you
arm,
only got
didn't
the
I?
troll's
And
blood for Tali, yeah.
Squeeze the blood out of it.
Yeah, although there was also a big hoo-ha about the fact that you weren't allowed to tell anyone about the pub outside.
Oh, God,
sorry, tell anyone about the manor outside.
Oh, yeah.
And you had to sign your names at the door to leave.
that was
Which
a,
brought-
Non-disclosure agreement.
definitely
yeah, sign the
understood.
NDA.
Yeah,
that was a minor inconvenience. Sorry.
but which Ross 100% understood when Tali explained it to him. Definitely,
Yes.
for sure.
Definitely.
We will all conduct ourselves in a professional manner.
Yeah, good.
Anyway, everyone takes 2d6 of psychic damage.
Yes.
Oh, did Pebble speak to Madame Morgrave as well?
Yeah.
You did a bit, yes, about being the nature of being a
About-
hobgoblin.
Hobgoblining and about training my
Maybe
magic.
you've always been a hob.
Mhm.
Yeah. So basically, Pebble tried persuading, without getting too much into it because it's boring. Pebble tried persuading Christina into not, being a bookworm and loathing about the situation.
Yes.
And then, he got some answers from Madame Morgrave, and he wants to train his magic in the magic room,
Yes.
but he's very scared. And he wants
Yes,
to talk
I
to
think I
Tali.
remember Madame Morgrave suggested you go speak
To
to Gable, and you said, okay, cool, and went to speak to Tali instead.
Well, I mean, they are both. I want to play it. I mean, I don't know. It's up to your choosing, but I want to play it as though Gable and Tali are probably doing the alchemy, and I board them. It's like, hey.
I need to go and talk to Gable about something else, so it is very likely.
Yeah.
Yes.
They will be.
But yeah, that is essentially where we're going to pick up, is kind of the remnants of the downtimes activity, because I think
There's a
there was a
couple
few
of
more
things I
things that
wanted
Tali
to
wanted to complete, so
Yeah.
we'll pick up with Tali.
Yes.
Where are you going? What are you doing?
I mean, first things first. So we learned about the Great Mark, and we learned that there is a potential cure in divine magic. In sinners repenting for their sins,
Yes.
then they get cured, but it's not always effective. So I guess you wanted to go and talk to Gable about that, and also to, make the potion, the solution to halt the progress of the disease, so we can get to.
Yeah, okay. So, you go back and basically find Gable hasn't really left the alchemy lab from where you left him when you last spoke to him.
Yeah.
You can see him and Chunk are down there just working on various things. Gable sort of talking along to Chunk as he works, and Chunk, of course, not able to respond, but seemingly enjoying the idle chit-chat nonetheless. They kind of work together through various things. So, but yeah, you find him down there. What do you say to him?
Knock on the door. It's like hi.
There's not actually a door to the alchemy because basically the stairs
on
descend
the
to the
wall,
basement.
on the
Yeah,
wall,
it's kind of like an open plan kind of space a bit. So you just knock on like a wooden post or something.
Lockpick.
just a
Gable looks up and says, "Oh hey, you're back. What did you learn in the library?"
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. So I learned that the I've been calling this affliction the Grey Mark, but it might have another name. I think it might have been called the Necrom Yarlow before.
Okay.
And there's some religious texts about how it's a punishment from the gods when people touch Ica, but more interestingly, that there is a known cure in someone repenting for their actions, which could potentially mean some divine magic could cure the disease entirely.
Huh. I mean, yeah, that's not unheard of.
You
Divine
know?
magic. Well, I'm not ever particularly versed in sort of the more divine miracles and magics, but that sort of thing has been heard of before. That's largely where they get the name miracles from. Curing things that are thought uncurable. People who've lost limbs suddenly growing them back overnight after praying to the gods. It's that kind of realm. So, yeah, that sounds plausible, I guess.
Well, it's just Tali does divine magic, but I don't think I have magic. I don't think I could do that. So I don't.
Huh.
It's above where I am.
Above your pay grade.
Above where you are now, but do you think maybe something we could work towards? Like, everyone here is learning and growing, all the time. Is it something you think that maybe is maybe not within your repertoire now? Is it something within your scope to maybe achieve someday?
Potentially. I mean, I don't know what the library's resources are for sort of the more divine magic. It seems more of a school for those who learn magic through study. My magic is Tali's magic, a bit more intuitive.
Well, I mean, there's kind of misnomers about that nature anyway. Kind of all magic is magic. How you kind of achieve it is separate, but what you do, you're calling it divine magic, but what you're doing is the same as what I do, what your friend Pebble does. It's all inherent magic. Hi.
No, I was no. Sorry.
That's Pebble kind of like pops his head out from behind Tali.
Oh, I mean, sorry.
Hey, sorry, I didn't mean to speak about you like you weren't there. But it's like it's all kind of inherent magic. It's kind of how you learn to shape that magic is where the differences lie. I've kind of learned to do it through structure and almost like equations. Someone like your friend Pebble is a bit more sporadic and feeling based, which is where some of the chaos comes from. That I think is among the sort of more arcane scholarly types, it is generally believed that the sort of priestly clerical types are more or less doing the same thing we're doing. They've just learned to do it through prayer. Like, this is a controversial opinion, but when you pray to a god and say, please, can you heal this person? The Abbey teaches you that the miracle you're channeling is you're asking the gods, and they are basically the one doing the magic, and it channels through you. But those with the sort of arcane studies believe that the actual individuals has the magic within them, and the actual phrasing of the kind of spell, the prayer, is actually what allows them to kind of trigger the magic. It's almost like a routine or rote that they use themselves to conjure the magic.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense. I don't feel like Inton is doing the magic. I feel like I'm, it comes from me. It's just drawn from.
Exactly, but that is the I guess the controversial opinion, but the lie that the Abbey teaches people, those who channel the wills of the gods, those who commit miracles, they're not doing magic. They just are a conduit. Though the arcane sort of studies believe otherwise. They're just magic users like the rest of us, but magic users are heathen, so you can't have magic users in the Abbey. Ergo, channeling miracles. And I've realized I've just gone on a massive tangent, and this is not what we're talking about. What can I do to help with this potion?
So just anyway. So the troll's blood, we got it.
Okay,
and,
great.
Since we were worried maybe this was the only way to cure it. I think actually the troll's blood doesn't cure it; it just stops it progressing.
Okay.
Which means that I don't see the problem with making something for our friend who is afflicted. Especially if we can cure it with divine magic, right? If we could continue to figure that out together, that's what you were. We could try to see if there's a way to cure this for more people.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Is that okay?
No, look, I mean, I was always okay with making this for you. I just wanted to make sure that you know, like I said before, the concern was if this was the only dosage of Troll's Blood we have and we use it in this one case, does that mean we're preventing someone else from getting it, who maybe needs it? But
I mean,
okay,
it does, but I don't know anyone else who.
No, and that's kind of what I'm kind of saying. And then, yeah, if there's an avenue in which we can heal this, then I guess that's fine. So, but like I said, ultimately, it was always your choice. I was just throwing out opinions just to be careful. But okay. He goes over to like the research note. You can see he's doing like transcribing Splint's notes into like his own form and like kind of annotating parts, and it seems like correcting parts of it maybe, or adjusting parts. So we're going to take this and synthesize it. I need, it'll take a couple of days. Let me, look, as Adam now trawls for the rules to find out what it takes to make potions.
3 years and a half.
It's not 3 years, but it'll be more, I think maybe like a week or something, possibly.
Okay.
This book.
20 seconds.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Like a microwave. Beep. Yes.
Bing. Got that. Magic item ingredients, that's fine. Okay, so it basically says it'll take him to synthesize it as a potion. It'll take him 4 days.
How does that work with us going into the?
So it's something that it kind of goes by itself. So it's not like he needs to kind of check on it constantly.
Nice.
We can arguably say this was at the beginning of the downtime. So basically 2 days can progress before you go into the library. And there are various, like, not that Tali went there, but obviously Pebble did. There are, unseen servants that kind of run parts of the house.
Oh, neat.
So it can be kind of monitored. Because mostly what it needs to do is kind of almost like a distilling process. It just needs to kind of go for a few days.
Would Gable
The active
know that?
parts are like, there'll be several points where you need active elements, but then most of the time it's just kind of just sitting there distilling. So Gable was happy to kind of set that off and
Neat.
have it synthesizing over 4 days.
Great.
Yeah.
So it won't complete till after you come back from the library, but that's fine.
Great. I mean, thank you. You've been very helpful.
No worries. So yeah, I'll get me and Junk will get going on synthesizing this, and yeah, come back in I guess 3-4 days, and we'll have a potion ready to go, and you can use it on your friend.
Yeah.
Lovely.
You also mentioned Chunk has some blacksmithing capability.
Yeah, he's the only one around here who knows how to use the equipment. You kind of see this kind of cold-looking like blacksmithing forge and tools, like an anvil and stuff like that, on the other side of the room. Well, most of us don't really need weapons in the same way, and obviously the only person who did is Baron, who has, a magical weapon possibly forged by the gods or some legendary thing like that. So it doesn't really need tuning up or fighting or anything like that anytime soon.
Yeah, well, we have we have a sword that we acquired, a magical sword, a magical great sword. It's made of silverite. But we'd like to convert that into weapons that are more our style.
Yeah. Okay. First question: how did you get a great sword made of silverite?
It's a long story. That is probably better if you don't know.
Oopsies.
Okay.
We didn't harm anybody.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You know, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. That's it.
No.
As he goes, I don't want to know. You hear a voice from behind you, and you see sitting on the steps behind you is Raz, who you didn't hear terms like, I want to know how you got it. And she's like twirling a dagger between her fingers. Like, that sounds like a story.
Well, it's just someone was sort of after us, and we disarmed them. Because they were trying to hurt us, and we just ended up taking.
By disarmed, do you mean killed?
No. I mean disarmed. They're fine.
Oh,
We
actually disarmed.
No. As
No.
in they have their arms. They just don't have. They didn't. We took the weapon out of their hand,
Huh.
and then we took the weapon because we didn't want them to be able to use it, and also we just sort of kept it.
She sort of stands up and starts walking towards you. Can I get like quite close to you? Do you have the great sword on you?
Probably not.
Okay.
I think it's probably like in.
Somewhere.
Oh no! Did Chad bring it to the training room? Maybe we do.
Chad,
Oh, you
Chad
did
did
actually.
last have it in
Let's
the.
just say she has it. She's just
in the
taking it.
battle
It's
room.
fine. Come
That's
back.
fine.
Yeah.
So she sort of walks up to you. She's like, now I know that silverite weapons are used mostly by Justicar. So you're telling me that you managed to sort of stand toe to toe with a Justicar, took the weapon off, presumably him, and then left with it, leaving him alive? I like your style. That's good.
Yes. Well. And we just having a large sword. It's very distinctive and it draws a lot of attention. So we just repurpose it for us, melt it down, and we wanted to make a couple of things out of it. It'd be much less obvious, and but it would also help us.
You see, Gable speaks back up again, like, yeah, no, that sounds like a really good idea. I don't think you should be. You haven't been walking around with that out in the open, have you?
Not out in the open, obviously not. But we have had to move it a couple of times. It's just, yeah, we wouldn't want aforementioned Justicar be able to
Okay.
accuse us of it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You see, Gable kind of looks up towards Chunk, like, I mean, you're the blacksmith. Can you do this with silverite? I don't know anything about this. But I know silverite's rare. And you see Chunk just stand there and you just hear like creaking of stone as the head just goes, just a nod, singular nod. But I guess you're good to go then.
Okay, good. So I believe we wanted to make out of it was a short sword for Chad.
It was a long sword for Chad,
Chad
and
would
you
be a
wanted,
long sword.
yeah,
And then I
and
wanted
you
the
were-
head of the glaive that I had.
yeah, you went ahead of a glaive. So potentially, it's a long sword and a dagger in kind of
Well,
game terms.
Hang on though, because I wanted to check something because we have the pole master. That's fine. Okay, that's
Yep.
fine. But that wouldn't apply to that particular because it's the other end, isn't it? Or is
Oh, so you mean the polearm master feat? So you have two parts to it. Because yeah, with the polearm master feat, you obviously attack with the head of the sharp bit, and then you attack with the back end.
Yes,
of the
obviously
weapon.
it wouldn't account for the back end.
You could try. It's with the kind of processing of blacksmithing, there's a chance to lose materials. So, there is a chance Chunk might be able to make enough metal for your glaive to have both ends of it,
Okay.
but not a guarantee.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, ideally, a longsword and the top part
Yeah.
of my glaive.
You see, as you sort of say that, the big stony hands go like on the chin of Chunk. Chunk turns around to the workbench and like grabs up some paper and starts like writing something down. And you see that they've kind of drawn like a small diagram. It's very like it looks like it's been drawn by a toddler because clearly their
Oh.
dexterity is not great with big stony fingers and like joints and stuff like that. But it does essentially show there's like a large sword, then there is a shorter sword, a even like tiny like blade, and a little like nubby bit. And it just in real like toddler handwriting, it just says 7 days, and it hands it over to you.
Cool.
Okay, but can I keep my glaive while you make the parts and then we can attach them at the end because this is my only weapon.
Chunk grabs another piece of paper. You watch as Chunk basically puts the paper on their arm and just draws something on their own arm using it as a table. And then just hands you a thing which says New Glaive.
A totally new one? Oh, so I would keep this one? Oh, okay. Okay, sure.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Then Chunk holds a hand out. Not quite realizing you don't actually have the sword on you.
No, we said we did, right?
No, Chad has it, and Chad is in the battle room.
Maybe not just say because we're okay. It's fine. I will go get it from Chad, and we'll explain to Chad what we're doing.
Yeah, okay. You go grab Chad.
I need the big sword. We're gonna make actual useful weapons.
Sorry, is that now Tali saying that to Chad?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
because and it's also very, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I'm gonna miss it.
But you're gonna have your own sword
one that I'm.
made out of this. A longsword for you and a glaive for me.
Oh, in that case, right? Here you go.
Yeah.
That'd
Come on,
be
I wasn't
great.
gonna leave you out. I know you like the sword.
Oh man, hell! I mean, it's a thing of beauty, but I'd love a Oh man, my current longsword, was we established it was Chad Senior's sword, wasn't it? He's sort of got it from his dad.
It is from your thought. Like, it's not like your family has like a famous sword that's like hanging on the mantelpiece in your home, which has a name that we never actually established. But we're like, it's like gonna be like some word like. I think it might have been respect or something like that. I mean, we did discuss it, but anyway, this is not that sword. The sword you have is it would have been one of your father's swords that he gave to you, but it is not the family legendary family sword.
Yeah. Great. I mean, can I keep this one for now? I mean, it'd be a bit, inconvenient going into the librarium, labyrinth or whatever it's called without, a weapon.
Yes. Yes. No, you can keep that one. You get a new one.
Wicked. Cool. Yeah. Totally fine. Here you go.
Okay. Just gives it to Chuck.
Great.
Cool.
What are you getting?
The glaive.
Oh, sweet. God.
Tali's just super awkward. It's like,
What?
yep, okay.
Why does Chad like that he's gonna get a smaller weapon instead of a big one?
It's not a smaller one. Well, yeah.
Well, so it is a small weapon, but basically,
Chad
the
can
great
use
sword
it.
can't be used with a shield.
Right. Fair enough.
Chad is very much a sword and board fighter.
No,
Yeah. He's looking forward to having one that he can hold in one hand.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about longsword is you still can choose to hold it in two hands.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have a choice in how much damage it does, but again,
Yeah.
you can't use shield in that case. Whereas the greatsword can only be used in two hands, which means no shield ever. Which is, some of your features are shield related.
I like having a shield. It's nice. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, you watch as you put on the materials of the chunk, and you see that it goes. You just hear this cracking of like earth. It sounds like
Nice.
as there seems to be some excitement in Chunk. Like maybe he hasn't done this, and they haven't done this in a long time. And you watch they start firing up this forge and get the bellows going. And throughout the rest of the sort of downtime period, you just hear the kind of rhythmic tung, tung, tung coming from the basement. Those of you who have been spending time in the library, you do hear that music that plays within the door of Madame Morgrave gets louder, as if to block out the sound of forging.
Turns into heavy metal. But played by violins.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And ends up matching the the tone
The rhythm,
and the rhythm of the thing. Yeah.
Just build it into the music. That's how you kind of accommodate it. Cool. So Tali, you've set those in motion. Obviously, they're going to take a little while, but that's fine. Anything else you want to do, Tali?
Yes, there was one more thing. I want to talk to Chad.
You find Chad. Obviously, this is various points in the these 2 days, so you can kind of find him in any location in the man you'd like. So.
Chad, are you busy?
No, always got time for you. Yeah, no, absolutely fine. Yeah, go ahead. What do you want? You're
Well,
good?
are we aware? So it doesn't really matter where we are. Adam, are we alone?
You can find a place to be alone. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So do you remember at breakfast the first day we were here, and there was that guy who came in, that really skinny guy, Mr. Green?
Yeah, vaguely. I was, you know, I mean, I was deep in conversation with good buddy Baron. Yeah, there must have been someone else in the room. Yeah.
Yes. Well, while you were talking to Baron, I was watching the room. And so he is like you.
A noble. Okay,
No,
more of us.
no,
Great.
no,
Oh,
Chad.
wonderful.
No.
Good with a sword.
No. Mm-mm. Your current affliction.
Oh. Right. What? Penniless. All right. Okay. Yeah. Good. That's fine. We all
No,
fall on hard times.
Chad. He's a vampire.
Oh. Right.
Yes.
The
That's
affliction.
The thing that
That's-
you're struggling with, he's also one. And it seems like he's getting he has some sort of deal with Madame Morgrave to help him with that. So I just thought it might be worth checking. Tali needs to check. We need to check that if she's supplying him with blood, maybe she could have you, but only if it comes from a sort of ethical source, right?
Yeah. I mean, do you know which of his symptoms are being mitigated?
Well, I think she's just eating him, so it's
Right.
just keeping everything under control, so he doesn't become this hungry
Right.
vampire monster or whatever.
Okay, so kind of like the best of both worlds. Then you're saying.
Well, it's not. I mean, it wouldn't be a permanent solution, but it might stop you from murdering,
Right. Yeah.
which
That's-
you don't want to do.
Great. I mean, has he been a vampire for long? Do you know if he's?
I don't think so.
yeah?
So, not for very long. But Chad, you mentioned. I think you mentioned someone. We don't really know who made you a vampire, but maybe it was related to this broker person. Because that's who you were.
Broker. Did he mention the broker?
Yeah, he did. I don't know if it's.
That
Do you
can't be
know?
a coincidence. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Why does that name? Why do you know that name? Did they also?
Did you mention? Did he mention Tobias at all?
Tobias. I
No.
don't think
Okay.
so. Why?
Right. No. That's no reason. No reason. That's
No,
that's
Chad.
fine.
Chad.
No,
Who? Okay, Chad.
listen,
Why do you know the broker?
I was, just a few days before we met, last week. I was falling on some hard times. I'm out here, and I had some money that I came out here with. And it's running low, and I can't really call him a friend, but someone that I was partying with, and just spending some time with. He was showing me around the city. Tobias, he said he knew someone who might be able to fashion me with a loan, and help me out with some cash. A fellow sort of noble, noble affiliated gentleman, and he took me to see this man, and he was called the broker, and I don't remember exactly where he was. Tobias was very insistent that it was kept a secret. There was there were all sorts of blindfolds and things like that employed, so I couldn't remember exactly where it was, and I don't really remember exactly what it was that happened there, but certainly it was after entering that room with the broker that things had changed. for me.
Hmm.
If Mr. Green has had a run-in with this broker as well, that cannot be a coincidence.
As you're talking about these sort of things of a secretive nature, I'd like both of you to roll a perception check as well.
Yes.
So that, although you are private, you are trying to obviously keep an eye out to make sure that, no one's coming while you're having this conversation.
Almost. It was almost a natural 20, but it wasn't quite. So I got a 14.
14.
9.
9, okay. You kind of have a moment where you're saying this, you kind of stop and realize, like, maybe we should check around. You kind of look about. Okay, good. Good to continue.
Neat.
Did he say anything else about the broker? Did he know where he was, or is he still in contact with him, or?
No, I don't believe so. He was very. I don't think he was expecting to be approached about, that whole situation. But no, he said he doesn't remember he was attacked. He was taken somewhere. Remembers the broker being mentioned. But do you think that the brokers who turned you?
It stands to reason. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not the broker himself, then an associate of the broker. Someone was in that room. Or if, again, as I say, I don't particularly recall specifically what happened clearly the process actually affected my memories in some way, whether I was taken somewhere else afterwards, or if there were further rooms, or did Mr. Green, did you tell him about me?
No, I didn't think.
Okay.
I think it's best we, not as few people should know as possible, really.
Yeah. Do you know? Can he do the whole? Can I? Considering we've had multiple short rests and things, can I do a little psionic telekinesis thing without sort of much of a cost?
Yeah. What are you planning to do with it?
Can he? Because Chad doesn't really sort of know the words for what it is that he can.
Yes.
He can do. So he's just gonna point to sort of I'm imagining probably in the room that we're sharing at the moment.
Yeah.
Chad's gonna sort of just look over at a candlestick,
Mm-hmm.
and just go pull that towards him to his hand. Pull that towards him. Can he do that kind of thing?
I don't think so. Look, I did some reading about.
Just out of interest, as you kind of connect to the room and you come your consciousness kind of expands out, Chad, as you kind of think about what's in the room and this inherent way reach out towards the thing in front of you. Just roll me. Is your telekinesis, is it intelligence based or is it constitution based? I can't remember. I haven't seen it.
I don't know.
It might be
actually.
neither, but usually magic type things are tied to one ability somehow.
Because it's not something that I have to roll for. The telekinetic movement isn't something I have to roll for. It's just a thing that I can do.
Yeah. Is there ever
psionic energy?
Even though you don't have to roll, it will be based off something.
Maybe not. It might just be what it is. I'm just trying to work out.
Because it's not like a spell.
Yes,
it's sort of bonus actions.
Intelligence modifiers, right? So can you just roll me an intelligence check?
Okay. Just straight intelligence.
Yes, please.
Which is never good. That's a 2.
2. Okay, that's fine. You're very focused. Yeah. You're very focused on pulling off this impressive trick of pulling the candlestick along, so which you go and you grab it, and there's nothing else occurs to you in that moment.
Okay. Good.
Look, I
this
did
isn't suspicious at all, Adam.
Yeah. So fine.
I did a bit of reading. So what you can do, I believe you're something that they refer to in literature as a vampire sonica.
Vampire sonica.
Yeah. Vampire sonica. So a psychic vampire. You have powers that are uncommon, even among vampires themselves.
Right. So I'm
But,
right. So I'm special. Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Nice.
As you mentioned the Vampirisonic thing, you hear a gasp, Tali, and you turn to your side and you realise that, completely unbeknownst to you guys, Brask has been standing in the room with you the whole time. Yeah.
How did you? Where did you? What?
How did you do that? Do it again!
Brask is Drax. I love it.
So Ryan asked if he could be in the room, and I said roll stealth check, and he got a 21. Then he got a 24 because we kept rolling as he got closer and closer to you guys. And then he just rolled a 10, so he gets picked up by both of you.
This is fine.
Oh, good.
Brask,
Oh, good.
to be clear, he didn't sneak up on you guys at all. He thought he was part of the conversation.
oh, right, yeah.
Amazing. It's fine. Brass can be here. It's not. That's okay. Yeah.
Do it again!
Cool. Chad's gonna sort of put the candlestick sort of down. And actually, Chad's gonna. Does Brask always has Dragon Fang on him, doesn't he?
Yes. It's impossible for
Can't
Brask.
leave me alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chad's gonna try and. Hang on. So you can move an object. As an action, you target one loose object that is large or smaller. I can move it up to think. If it's a tiny object, would Dragon Fang count as a tiny object?
Yeah. Typically speaking, loose object also means something that isn't like equipped to someone, but I will allow it for Dragon Fang because I think it sounds like a fun thing you're doing.
Yeah, cool. Chad's gonna sort of reach out and do it to Dragon Fang. Do it. And he's gonna move it to his hand.
Roll me another intelligence check as you do this.
Yep. Natural 20.
Wow.
Amazing. So you pull, and as you do, Dragon Fang like comes out of the sheath and then starts spinning, and you can feel this resistance from Dragon Fang as it's trying to go back to Brask. But you do manage to overwhelm it, and it goes, and it's pulled into your hand.
Will, can you do an intimidation check on that?
Hey, yep.
Dragon Fang's yours now.
It's a 16.
What
Make
would
a
that
wisdom
be?
saving throw,
What would I-
Brask.
Wisdom saving, that was it, yeah.
Please.
Wisdom! Okay, phew, 20.
20.
So have a brief flash of, oh my god! And then I'm like, no, wait, and will it back to me, and it just snatches back.
Yeah. Chad
hugging it tight.
doesn't try to stop that. That's
I said the
willingly
candle!
gets it back.
So do it with the candle!
Yeah. Okay, but the candle's just like here on this table now. Is that?
There's no. I can go.
Yeah.
Stroking my
Okay.
boomerang.
And Chad's gonna sort of do it, and it moves like the 5 centimeters that it is now from his hand.
Okay. Okay, good. Whew, that's a lot of information. So, we have to kill the baker.
What?
No, we don't. No.
Knew those buns were
not-
suspicious.
Oh,
Let's go.
it's not. That's not what we're doing, Brass.
Oh.
I'd like to think that according to like in Brask's mind, the problem is that Chad can move candles. That's like the only.
The baker
Yeah.
cursed him with those buns
Yes.
that we got way back in like session 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Chad, do you think
Now,
you could?
now the baker must die.
Chad, could you? Do you think? You said Tobias was your friend, right?
Yeah.
Who
I
you
mean,
were hanging out with.
friend is a very very loose term. But yeah, we partied.
Do you think you could contact him again when we're done with this? You know, the labyrinth and things. You know, the broker. It seems like we don't know anything about them, and I don't know if is Tobias vampires. And why is he? You know, I just. Tali has a lot of questions, and it might be safer to start with them.
Yeah. Could I roll a history check just to see if anything ever seemed off about Tobias in that
Yes.
regard?
Yep, go for it.
It's like, what would I do?
5.
5.
Everything was
It kind of
5.
occurs to you that you don't really know too much about Tobias. Like, you kind of met him while drunk and had like a good night partying with him, and he just seemed like a swell guy at the time. But the kind of more you think of it, like, oh shit, I don't really know anything about the guy.
Yeah. No, he just kind of found me. No idea.
It would very much be the case that he came to you as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably were like, not that Chad maybe remembers it, but it probably was something like you were boasting about who you were and how you were from out of town and stuff like that, and that's probably when Tobias would have come and approached you.
Yeah.
He
100%.
sought you out.
No, you know how it is. I mean, do you know how it is on a night out when you're drunk and you just sort of bump into people and then just have a. That's such a shame. We should. I mean this in I'm asking if I mean this in the obviously the platonic sense. We should go out sometime. Just. You definitely should
Do
just
what?
experience that. Just have a nice, just night out in the town.
What do you do?
Oh, revel, quaff. Brask, help me out. What does one do on a sort of social evening out in the town?
Do Draken have an equivalent of this?
You probably like the thing about the nature of like going out usually implies that a working day, because you need to have the end of the working day to go out. For the Draken, you are a nomadic hunter-gatherer people, so you probably party and celebrate any fucking chance you get, basically.
Nice.
Come back from a good hunt,
And that-
party. So it's probably like kind of that sort of celebration, but isn't quite going out. Isn't really like the phrasing
For the
of it.
sake of it, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
You're not trying to escape anything. It's more just celebrating a good hunt, I guess, would be. So a lot of feasting, a lot of drinking, that kind of way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like we can all gather around a carcass and we can cook it and we can fight. We can exchange stories about and paint blood on our faces. Oh, it will be so much fun.
Great.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's
I could put blood on your face. You could put blood on my face.
No blood.
Okay, Tali puts blood on both of our faces.
No, I don't want. No, we're not doing that. No.
Can Chad kind of like, I don't know if I have to roll what I would roll for this. Can Chad kind of like openly kind of like be like agreeing with Brask in a way that Brask thinks he's agreeing with him, but at the same time being kind of like
That would be
Tali.
100% a deception check.
Yeah. Oh, thank goodness, 21.
Cool. But then also an insight check from Tali.
Right, good. Just go like, yeah.
Oh man, I rolled a natural 1. Tali's busy right now.
Yes. So what's happening is, Chad, you are openly like, yeah, that sounds like a great time. And Tali's like, oh god, he's a vampire. Of course he'd want the blood. He's turning. He wants to cut carcasses open. Oh no.
Is there a world in which Christina wanders in on this conversation?
Sure. We'll just say yes. You walk in
please.
specifically when you hear Chad say, yeah, we'll just wipe blood on our face. We'll tear a carcass open.
No.
That's when Christina walks in.
That was
So
just
we're
in the
left.
kitchen.
So we're becoming less small and mighty and more big and cannibalistic, huh?
No.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
No, it won't be great.
Oh my god. I don't even know where you'd get such things in Dalbridge.
We'll find them.
Butchers?
The weak ones always stray from the herd.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
We need to go and talk to Madame Morgrave, Chad.
Yeah, totally. About normal things. Just, having a good, nice, non-blood soaked time. Yeah.
Then we'll go out.
Since when has any of our adventures been normal and non-blood soaked?
Oh, that's an excellent point, Christina. And it's that kind of insight that really we could all use.
I mean, I've definitely grown much wiser in this past week, so I'm glad it's all coming to fruition.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, but I mean, we all have. But how is it? Just before we head off, how is it being around, family again? It's been a while for me. Is it you having a good time?
That good time? I'm having a time.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah. I feel like you and I should talk about family at some point.
We should talk about time.
We should
Should we
really,
now?
yeah.
Are you
Maybe not.
homesick, Chad?
Well, what's the term for when you're homesick, but in the way that sort of seeks revenge?
That's not.
You know what I mean?
I think maybe you should employ your imagination and come up with your own word. 'Cause that may
Yes.
not exist.
Yes. Venge sick. No, I'll work on that.
Just-
I'll work on
Yeah,
that.
you workshop that, Chad, and you come back to me and let me know what you come up with.
Yeah,
Home
yeah.
gens.
Dear.
I'm homegens.
Homegens. Oh, yeah. Oh.
I imagine
missed-
for Chad also some of the complicated family things also would circle around the fact that as per that flashback moment we had, your mum has just gone. She left
Yeah.
and has disappeared somewhere into the world, so your mum is out
Yeah.
there somewhere.
Yeah, I suppose I miss my land. Yeah, I miss the land. Do you miss your land?
As in the place you come from or the land you own?
Oh, and,
The
I
soil.
assume both.
One and the same, surely, for Chad.
well, what were some things that were on your land, Chad, that you missed very much?
Oh, the banquet hall. The boating lakes.
2,
The subjects. Oh, so many subjects.
3,
The bachelorettes.
4,
Just the respect.
5,
Really, the bank vaults were just extremely useful.
6,
Exotic fruits and breads.
7,
The biggest wine cellars that you've ever seen in your life. I'm sure you understand.
8.
Hey.
That's
That's
what I think.
Home.
Wow.
A little improv joke there for the audience.
Yay.
You know what I mean? What are some things that you miss about your lands?
Oh, I miss my pals.
Wow.
All of my pals. I miss the great steep forests.
2,
Two.
I miss just heading off to the beach whenever I fancy.
3,
Three.
I miss my little mini wine cellar.
4,
Four.
I miss just being able to just like wander around and not worry about big scary people. Just
Yeah.
because.
5,
Five.
I miss how like the lamps would change colour.
6,
Six.
You know, like gas lamps would change colour. I miss the cuisine,
7.
7,
7.
and I miss having a decent bed.
8.
Yeah.
8.
Eight.
Those were 8.
There's worry things that Christina misses about her land.
Nice.
Oh, you Brask.
Oh no.
I've never been to her land.
1.
No. I mean, your lands.
Oh, well, the blood.
1,
One.
Fighting.
2,
Plenty of that here. Yeah.
The smell of the mud as it fills your nostrils.
3,
Three.
The sound of the war drums every morning.
4,
Visiting my dad's remains.
5,
Right.
Oh, heading to the markets.
6,
6.
We have those, guys. We have those. Getting drunk every meal.
7,
7.
and hunting the weaklings.
Those were
Great
great
things. And
The fun thing is, because of the nature of the Draken, they have a culture of raising their dead for servants. Visiting your dad's remains is probably going with him to the market as a skeleton.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
me and my dad are just going to the market, the skeleton Draken coming along with you, like...
That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
In a way.
Carry the bag.
Very Halloween.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to feel left out.
Oh,
who's
no.
currently in the room or about to come into the room.
No!
Pebble, come in here!
Yeah, Pebble!
Do Tali first.
Tali, what are some things I suppose your lands were kind of the abbey. What kind of what do you miss? Do you miss things?
I mean,
Do you have earthly needs and things that you would miss?
I mean, there are some things, right? Like the stained
8
glass
of them?
windows. This,
One.
Yeah.
Or
Um, Getting to help the public, the citizens, where I was.
But we've done
Two.
that.
A quiet space to just sit and relax.
3.
3.
And the priests of the abbey, they're always very nice to me.
4.
4.
Routine.
5.
5. That's gone out the window. Yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't any murder to worry about.
6.
Six.
And sometimes we would have those little like crackers that you get when you come to the abbey's sermons. They were pretty good. I wanted to stack those.
Abbey crackers.
7.
So, never heard.
7.
Crackers things, and just a good cup of tea.
8.
8.
Those were 8 things.
Chad is absolutely on our way to go and see Madame Morgrave. He's actually just going to go and get Tali a cup of tea. That's.
I thought you were going to say you were going to ask Madame Morgrave 8 things she misses.
Oh my god! About the place that she's currently in. I had to prepare something.
Go away, I'm busy.
Pebble, have you arrived?
Sure,
Pebble
why?
just
Why
happens
not?
into the room.
Yes.
Pebble,
Hey,
Pebble,
I've heard.
come in. Yeah,
I heard we're all missing things.
Yeah, we're sharing the things
Wow.
that we miss about our lands that we either owned or came from, or anything. What are some things that you're missing these days?
My parents.
1.
One.
Fun
Dark,
one.
yeah.
Being the fresh green grass,
2.
2.
Ooh.
playing with my friends in the forest,
3.
3.
having a normal appearance,
4.
being helpful to people and not questioning my purpose in life.
5.
5.
I don't know. I guess we are wine producing land, aren't we? Like the riches of the the
Yeah.
wine and the stews there and whatever.
6.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, 6. Not wine.
Everything was on a fence. Everything was controlled. Haha.
7.
7.
Both are in existential crisis. And also the lack of corrupt laws and their instigators.
8.
Hey!
Those were 8.
Great.
Oh, cool.
Fun.
Imagine there's this long pause of awkward silence as Pebble finishes listing off things about his homeland.
Yeah, everything is like, wow. Everyone's like, wow. And then
Yeah.
Pebble goes in and says, wow.
Yeah.
So you do miss that.
No. Anyway,
Taps him on the back,
Hunting.
on the shoulder,
Hunting.
softly.
Hunting.
No.
Tali, let's go and get a cup of tea
Oh,
and go and see Madame
okay.
Morgrave.
Sure. Do they have
Oh,
that?
wait, look. Ikredor is here. Ikredor, what are your 8? No. No, let's not go there.
You haven't seen the corridor since
Yeah.
Christina sent him off.
Of course.
Spud walks in.
What are you doing?
Ah,
No.
I miss being a wolf.
What?
Oh, this
What?
being a wolf.
What? Really?
This being a wolf.
Wait.
Hey.
This is a revelational.
You guys go off and get a cup of tea. You swing by the kitchen, which you guys haven't been to before. But as soon as you do, you see this whole like Fantasia self-running kitchen. Like, oh, what the fuck? But you get a cup of tea, and then you go to Madame Morgrave. Is that the plan?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I think Tali, you've been in the office. So Chad, you experienced
I don't
this.
think Tali has.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, maybe not. Okay, well then you both have the same experience with the magical musical door. You come up and you hear this loud, like, whereas before it had been violin, I think it's like a cello now to kind of cover the
Yes.
sound of that ping. So you hear the cello playing. You're like, oh no, maybe we shouldn't disturb it. But you knock on the door, and you obviously enter in. Archie welcomes you in, and you hear that music stop and then continue behind you as you both realise the music playing within this door, this privacy shield. And when you're inside the office, you cannot hear that ringing of blacksmithing at all.
That's a,
Sound field. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
What
what
can I do
is,
for both of you today?
is that?
Oh,
What
what,
is-
the door?
Hmm.
It's just an enchantment, just to keep this room private. For any conversations that aren't meant to be heard by outside ears, which, looking at the sort of nervous look in your face, Tali, I imagine this is going to be one such conversation.
Yeah,
Well,
that would have been really useful a few minutes ago, wouldn't it, Tali?
Yeah, it would have been. But
God.
oh well. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, I'll just Tali will just cut to the chase. Mr. Green is a vampire.
Wow.
Sorry. She laughed. No.
No.
She kind of looked at you and there's a pause for a moment. It's like, you spoke to him. Yes. Okay.
And he mentioned that you're helping.
Yes. Indeed. She pauses for a second, like, also sorry, I must address that. Brask, if you can understand that, you might as well become a part of the conversation. And you two notice that Brask has followed you into the room
What? How?
Have tea.
with a stealth check of 23. Brask has just followed you in.
Why?
You might as well come forward.
How do you keep doing that?
Brask, this
You're
is
so tall.
really impressive but terrifying.
Yeah, Brask is massive and also quite like he's a bit chunky as well. He's
Yeah.
not like slim, but yeah, he's very stealthy.
I'd like to imagine that it's like an SCP for like somebody else's problem, like perception filter thing, where it's
Something going on.
like if you're not expecting like an 8-foot tall lizard man to be somewhere, and you just don't see it.
Yeah, exactly. There's something going on there. Yeah. But Madame Morgrave notices you without a problem, and calls you forward into the conversation as you stand there. Hello.
Drinking a teacup is like a tiny espresso cup. To him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. No, I was aware you spoke to him in the reception area. You don't know why she knows that.
The statues, right?
Continue. What do you mean?
Well,
what the bus?
Tali's fairly like the statues are hers, right? So she totally can just see through them. She totally can see and hear through them. That's how she keeps eyes on everything going around the
It's a
school.
fair
right?
assumption. Yes.
That would have been in character, by the way.
Yeah,
Tali
yeah.
would have gone, oh, the statues, right?
Yes. Yes, the statues.
Okay.
Yes, the It's interesting when you say the statues. When she says the statues, you roll me an insight check.
Yes. I'm gonna roll a real dice. Let's see.
Oh, lovely.
Ooh.
Do you know what I was thinking the other day? Like to put like a mirror like this, so that you can see the dice rolling. That would be
That
Um,
sounds
a nice
complicated.
setup.
It's insight check, right?
Yes, please.
That would be. Can I do maths? 24.
24. When you say the statues, and she goes, yes, the statues. You think she's lying, and she's agreeing with you that your assumption is correct.
Ooh. Okay.
That she knows, but not through the statues.
Nice.
Tali just pauses for a moment and just stares at her. Anyway,
We're closer.
he mentioned you were helping.
Yes.
We'd just like to inquire as to the nature of how you're helping him and where you're getting your resources. I'm assuming you're providing him with blood.
I am indeed providing him with blood, yes. To satiate him and prevent him from doing anything regrettable.
That's everything.
That is everything.
Is she lying?
I'm gonna have an insight check.
23.
3.
23.
23. I said only a 3. I was like, that doesn't seem right for Tali. 23. She's not lying. She's telling the truth. But she does continue and goes, yes, and that is all I will ever intend to supply to him. And I rather wish you hadn't gotten his hopes up about a cure, if I'm being honest.
Why?
The manor exists in a rather difficult situation. This is a school, although secretive as it is. It unfortunately has requirements and it needs funding.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure, I explained this to you at breakfast. Mr. Green is the reason we are able to get funding. This facility is entirely funded by the Dowbridge government. Under the ostensible guise of trying to cure magic. This is an arrangement we have been able to hold due to some financial magic, I guess you could even call it, of his own from Mr. Green. He is able to tweak certain things and keep this place supplied with money for its original intended purpose, despite that it has not functioned in that form for many, many years. This, however, this agreement only exists while Mr. Green has a need for us. He is not one who wants to go out and become a vicious vampire, nor does he particularly want to go out and get his hands dirty. We came to an agreement in that I will supply him with a consistent supply of blood, as long as he continues to keep our organization quiet, but also well funded. I also very specifically told him that there is no known cure for his condition, and that he would need to continue indefinitely with our arrangement, and there was no point seeking otherwise. And you have obviously thrown some doubt into that situation, which I do not blame you for. You did not know, but it does somewhat complicate our nature. Because you may have picked up on this, Tali. I think you are quite insightful. Mr. Green is not a man who would, of his own nature, want to support what we do, or even mages. If he was free of this arrangement, I have no doubt the first thing he would do would be to go to speak to the Justicar barracks and have them kicking down our doors. Chad, do you want to say something? I apologise.
Chad's gonna just sort of like nod in approval of like, yep, no, I can appreciate a good good bit of leverage. When I see one, that's can't say I'd do anything differently in that situation. But were you when you've convinced him that there isn't a cure, was that you're telling the truth to him about that?
No, she wasn't.
It is.
That's an idiot. Come on.
Yeah. It is the complicated nature. There is no... Cures are not common. There is a very risky maneuver in that the curse in itself, and the nature of the curse, and I hope I'm not revealing anything that you don't already know, but once one has been killed or died through some circumstance, the curse is removed from their soul. A rather ironic twist on the original thing. A curse that makes you immortal is removed upon death. But this does mean that if someone should find the means to resurrect a being, and their soul is free to be resurrected, they come back without the taint of vampirism upon them. A complicated thing to achieve, not one that is easy.
Right.
That is the only certain cure. she has to think that there is one of the tomes in the library out there speaks of one rumored cure. There was a let me think. Some priestess. What was her name? She's all synced somewhere. Rubs her temples. Sister Beatree, a young priest from Riverdale, worships Othne. Is rumored to have cured a vampirism from someone through the act of a miracle. The only known account of it happening, which does lead to doubt if it is true or not. It could be some rumor, some act. Someone may potentially that the person afflicted with vampirism maybe didn't have it to begin with, in order to, present the power of the abbey or something. But it is the only known accord of someone having cured vampirism without having to slay the victim first.
That was in Riverdale.
In Riverdale, yes. I'm not sure if you'd have to find the tome. I'm not sure off the top of my head whereabouts. I know you are Riverdalian. I don't think it was from the team, but somewhere. Like I said, the tome will say more if you can find it.
Right.
I mean, aside from that, it's interesting, but where do you get the blood for Mr. Green?
Oh, purely purely just out of curiosity. We're asking, of course. Yeah.
And for paint.
Yeah. But it's for Brask's for Brask's benefit. Not mine. I wouldn't have any use for a supply of blood at all.
Dodgy.
Of course you wouldn't, Chadonithius. She
Yeah.
gives you a long, deep stare.
He's just doing some deep breathing.
That is a secret I'd rather keep to myself, if I'm being honest.
Right. Yeah.
Good.
That's yeah, fair. Tali?
I mean, do you want to just... Shall we just be candid, Chad?
I'm just gonna roll an insight check just for my own benefit.
Go for it.
Yeah, cool. Chad hasn't clocked on that we probably don't need to worry about being candid. That she probably already knows because she's overheard all the conversations. So Chad hasn't realised that. Well, I don't see why not. Why we shouldn't. You see, the thing is, Madam, Mrs. Morgrave, Ms. Morgrave, a lady of the house, of the manor. The thing is, when I said that there was no reason why I specifically would need to know where what your arrangements were for Mr. Green, that may have been a slight, how do you say, sort of exaggeration, and the truth is, and he's kind of like looking between like Tali and Madame. The truth is that in reality, something that you may well not know about yours truly, is that how do I say it?
You can see Tali, you can see on her side especially, she obviously knows what's happening, but there is this kind of, she's waiting.
He's a vampire, okay?
She's waiting patiently, and sort of like, I was waiting to see if you would say it or not, but okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's
Chadonithius, I'm quite aware.
right. Yeah, cool. Thank you for letting me splutter on like a moron there. That's you're greatly appreciated. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah.
So, Chad doesn't want to kill anybody.
Good.
Well, not in that way, Yeah. If there are baddies that need slaying, I have a sword. But yeah. No, on principle, yeah.
So we were considering, could this treatment you provide, Mr. Green, could it work for Chad? But obviously, we are concerned with the how you collect blood to give, because we don't want people to be dying. Ideally,
I could pay for the service as well. I'm. You know where I hail from originally. You know that there are resources that I may not be especially liquid at the moment, but there are there would be resources I could certainly contribute. Eventually to the funding of this fine establishment.
That is very sweet of you to offer, Chetanethus, but would not be required. I would be happy to supply you with blood, should you require that from me. The only caveat is it is through the nature that I collected, which I am still intending to keep close to my chest, but it is fresh. It will not keep. So if you wish to take a draft of the blood, you must be here on the vicinity to do so. I cannot give it to you to take with you. It will coagulate and spoil. Much the same as Mr. Green. It is a convenient to the sort of ongoing blackmail that Mr. Green has to come here, but it is also a genuine fact. I can only source it here, and it can only be administered here. Really.
How long?
Can we do a little think? Like if it's fresh, I mean, it's from the premises of the school.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have some thoughts on it's coming from someone in the school then. But I don't know, like, can Tali put some things together?
Yeah, you can run me like an Arcana check. Or just a flat intelligence. I'll let you do either.
I mean, Arcana.
Yeah, I don't know why I said either, because
Oh,
one
a
supersedes the other.
natural 20.
Natural
plus
20.
24.
There's kind of a few different possibilities here. So one is very much like, this could be taken from like one of the students on the premises, potentially, if one thing comes in. But it's also possible, like, you are aware that, you're very soon going to be heading through a portal in the basement that heads to another place. Like, there could be... Madame Morgrave probably contains the ability to teleport. So she could go places and come back. And very much, like... Maybe it hasn't been said to you, but, like, Christina's grandmother, which is also Madame Morgrave's sister, teleported Christina from South Costran all the way to Downbridge. So teleportation is clearly within the remit of their power. So you don't the natural 20 actually makes things less clear for you. Whereas you may have been suspicious of it coming from the premises. The opening up of the possibility of teleportation means actually it could be coming from anywhere on the whole continent, and she could just be going and coming back in the same day to collect it.
I mean, Tali will say, okay, look, you don't have to tell us how you get it, but can you assure us that people are not dying and or suffering for it?
I can assure you that no one undeserving is dying or suffering for it.
Right, and how long specifically does your blood supplies last before they go bad, as it were?
Within the realms of 24 hours. So
Right.
you could come collect it and take it with you, but it's a case of you couldn't store it for a week. And the difficulty is,
Right.
I imagine, unlike Mr. Green, who lives and works in the city, you are an adventuring party. You are, I expect at some point you may travel to distant parts of the continent. That's when this arrangement would obviously not work. You could not take several vials with you and travel with it. It's a case of, if you are here in the city and you are needing to feed, you can come here and I can supply it to you. If you are elsewhere, there's not a lot I can do for you.
Right, yeah, totally fair. Chad's going to, at that point, subtlety is just gone at this point. Chad's going to then pull out the vial of Tali's blood that he has.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to sort of take... Was it like a see-through? Was it a clear vial?
It's not clear, but it's silver.
The vial's
silver.
clear, the blood is silver.
Blood is silver. Basically, Chad's going to just sort of openly check, because he's had that for 2 days now.
Yes.
So about just over 48 hours. He's just going to check if that has started to
You kind of
coagulate
shake it
or
around
not.
a bit. That has not coagulated.
Right. No, I sort of turn to Tali, but it's neat.
You see her face kind of. There is a sort of incredulous look on her face as she brings this out, and their eyes kind of dart between the vial and you, Tali, and like, interesting.
Anyway,
Great.
Brass, understand what that is.
Brass, roll me a nature check or medicine check.
Nature. Ooh, 21.
21. So yes, you do understand what it is. I'm trying to work out why you'd understand what it is. I think you understand what it is, Brass, because you have been in battle with Tali. You have seen Tali bleed, and I think it probably for you, like you're again, blood is a big part of your culture, as we've well established this session. I think it would be really notable to Brass that when you saw Tali bleed, he bleeds silver. And that would have stood out to you. So now you're seeing a vial of silver
Brass
liquid.
is colorblind, so all blood looks the same to him.
Okay, so in this case, it's more. It'd be like a lot lighter.
Yeah, like it's
Lighter and shimmering, whereas the blood you're used to is kind of like a dark grey, essentially.
Okay.
I like the idea that maybe Brass is colorblind, but you still see blood.
just blood.
Yeah, I see the
yeah,
world
it's
like
like
Schindler's
Schindler's, it's like Schindler's List.
Yeah. Everything's shades of grey
Sin City.
apart from blood red. Yes, Sin City,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yes, you 100% recognise what this is, and you realise it is a vial of Tali's blood.
Right, so when Chad's like holding it out, Brass is gonna like lean forward and sniff it to recognize it, and then he's gonna sort of almost Pavlovian way, like every time he's smelled that blood, it's been because there's danger and there's a fight. So he's kind of gonna get a little bit riled up suddenly and just sort of growl and look at Chad.
Whoa!
Sort of like
Easy boy.
Yeah, no, all
okay.
fine. Brask, everything's fine. We're
It's okay.
yeah. Don't worry. There's no danger here. You okay? You good? He's gonna Chad's gonna do the Chris Pratt Jurassic World thing. Whoa!
Yes.
Roll an animal
Brass
handling check.
is gonna-
Yeah. Okay.
As you are treating Brass like a wild animal right now.
16.
16. I'll
That's
say
a
that's
big
enough
deal,
to kind of temper your nerve, brother. You're not going to lash out at Chad right now, but
No.
you are obviously still
Well-
you are a thinking creature. You are in charge of your own emotions, but
Yeah. Brask is gonna kind of smack the hand away and walk out the room. Even if there's no like danger or like I don't know, nothing bad has happened to make that happen. He's not a fan of essentially fueling a monster.
yeah,
Kind of how he's thinking about it.
He's gonna.
You kinda
As
go,
you
"What
kinda-
is that?"
Check that just to see.
yeah, you inside check that. Brass, as you sort of storm out the door, you sort of tear the door open. The violins go, and then as you slam the door shut, there's a pause and as it continues again.
That was a bad insight roll. I got like a 9.
He's also gonna like crunch on the teacup as if it was like a snack.
You're not sure, Tali, where that's come from or what that's about.
And look, she turns to Madame Morgrave. Don't judge me, okay? I just don't want him to hurt people. So it's what it takes. It's
I'm
what it takes.
not judging at all. I was just thinking that it is a very valuable thing that you hold there, Chadnuthius. Be careful who you show that to. Many people would and have killed for that. The blood of a godling
bullets.
is a very rare substance, and although obviously godlings are incredibly, revered and profound within abbey following folk, those who are of a lower creed have found diabolical uses for the blood of godlings.
Hang on. What do you mean?
It's used to fuel a lot of demonic rituals.
Wait, what? How?
I see. Sorry.
How does that? What?
In short, I won't go into the details of it, but the blood of godlings can be used to sort of represent the corruption of innocence, which can break down the gateways between Umbral and this world, allowing demons to enter into our realm. There's more complication to it than that, but that's just the short version of it. You mix the blood of a godling with the blood of a mortal and various other components, etc.
Ooh.
Well, you're right about one thing. It is valuable. It was a gift from a friend.
Well, then I trust you to look after it very well, Tetramatheus.
So mixing is bad.
Oh,
Huh? Who
yes,
could have
fine.
thought?
And also, I don't have the blood of a mortal, so we can mix our blood fine. That's great.
It's not.
It's probably not.
I'm immortal, by the way, but I'm Madame Morgrave. I don't know if you know. It's great.
As you say that, there was like a moment where she's like correcting you, and like, you know, it doesn't matter. I don't need to explain this to him.
Now we know at least that it's not going to like cause a. I'm not going to explode. You know.
Anything else I can do for the two of you today?
I don't think so. Are you saying that Chad is free to come and get blood from you if he needs?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
If you find yourself in a need, then you're more than welcome to come here, and I shall supply you.
So, I mean, I'll have some just before we go into the library. In that case, that'd be great. Thank you.
Very good. I will make sure we have some on supply.
Lovely.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Likewise. Anything else I can help with you with?
No, I don't think so right now. It's
Okay.
okay.
So you two make your way out of the office, and anything else anyone wants to do in the downtime period?
I mean,
Okay.
other than what do you mean between Tali and Chad, or in the whole?
All of you. Is there anything else you guys want to do over the 2 days of downtime?
I wanted to, I don't know, buy, like, we are not rich, but we are, you know, we have money, and I wanted to, you know, people would want to, you know, get prepared for the big, you know, adventure.
Point, actually.
Go to the market,
Yeah.
buy something.
Yeah, if it's just buying general equipment, like not a
can sort that
roleplay or
later.
researchy type thing,
Yeah.
we can handle it in our break while we're off camera just to
Yeah,
speed things up.
definitely. And
But,
also,
yeah, is
I,
there
mean, I guess train with Gable.
Yes,
But-
yeah, okay.
We don't have to narrate it either, so it's fine.
I'll think about that. I think we'll come back to that maybe after the break. Okay, so you guys, 2 days go by, you do various things. Pebble, you do some training with Gable, which we'll touch on in a second. On the second night,
Yeah.
as you're all tucked gently into bed, dreaming sweet, sweet dreams, Christina,
Oh no.
you have a very lucid dream. You find that typically speaking, what does Christina dream of?
She doesn't.
Okay.
Oh,
So yeah, technically speaking, there's in the thing as well that everyone dreams, just not everyone remembers a dream. So you don't typically remember your dreams. So which is why, in particular, this then stands out for you. You find yourself very consciously in a dream, in a place that you don't recognize. You find yourself in, if you can like imagine Stonehenge, but if it was made by the Greeks, these kind of white marble pillars. All kind of like that, like in a circle ring of these white marble sort of pillars and like almost like archways. Outside of that ring is a deep forest, a verdant green forest, just stretching out as far as the eye can see. And at the very center of all of these white marble sort of archways is a stark white tree that grows up out of the ground, thick bark. A thick trunk, but as it rises up into the branches, the actual tree starts to become translucent, almost ethereal. And as its branches stretch out, you see there are these amber-colored leaves that kind of barely visible, almost ghostly against the sky. And then running between those white marble archways and this tree are these kind of like blue and silver banners that kind of cross, creating this almost like this pagoda-like tent kind of thing that you are under. And you see sat on a similar white marble bench is this very elderly-looking orc. She wears this kind of like kind of white toga, but with kind of like blue trimmings coming through it. This long grey braided hair that has been kind of like bundled up into like buns and various things, and there's plants woven within it. And you recognise this as Idnuel, the druid that you asked to be contacted with.
Ah, fun.
It's like, Christina, my child. It's been a long time since we've spoken. And that's where we'll take our break, and we'll come back to that afterwards.
Yay!
Cool.
Very good. All right.
And Brask is also in the dream.
Yeah,
No!
Ross is also there. Let me stop check.
Oh man.
Right.
Oh man.
Ooh.
So Ryan is full of shenanigans today.
Oh, I love this.
The amount of private messages I had from Ryan this session so far. It's like, can I also be in the room? Like, sure, Rob, stealth check.
God. Great.
I'm going to be extremely paranoid at all times now with any kind of private conversation. Is Brask in the room?
I just love the
realised,
fact that you were asking, like, Adam, this is not suspicious. I'm like, it's fun because I'm not doing anything. Nothing to do with me.
There was a moment
kind
because I've got Roll20 open. Oh, I've got D&D Beyond open on my other screen. There was a moment when we were in Madame Morgrave's office when I saw a stealth check come through from Brass. And I was
I
like,
thought you and I
that's
was
why
like,
laughing.
what is
I
happening?
was like, oh god,
That's a
see
fair
what's
point.
happening here.
Ryan, there's a little drop-down menu next to it where you can roll
Yeah.
specifically to the DM only, so we need to start using that because otherwise you're
Oh,
going
I
to give the game
loved
away.
that. Oh,
Yeah, I realized
so
that as I
funny.
was doing it.
That's fine.
So
It's
funny.
literally just, I kind of realized earlier, I haven't really used Brask's stealth
Incredible
proficiency
stealth.
that much. Yeah, and he is like incredible at it. So it's kind of fun. Like I just figured he would do it by accident sometimes.
Great.
Yes, love it.
Yeah.
Just be hanging
right.
out with people and that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna break. We're back at, so it's quite 1:45, so
See you in
Yeah.
a little bit longer than 10 minutes.
yeah, just over 10 minutes.
Bye.
And we're back. So we pick up where we left off in Christina's dreams. Before we do though, we'll notice that Brask has rolled an incredible stealth check and has actually disappeared entirely from the stream. So Ryan unfortunately had to run off and do something else, so he will not be with us for the rest of the stream. So.
He had to.
Well, we'll carry on without him. The party just won't be able to find him because of the stupidly high stealth check.
One could say he ran off. Ryan.
One could say that.
Anyway.
But I think many would resist the urge, honestly.
Yes. Sorry. That's
Anyway.
correct. Cool.
Anyway, yes, Christina, you find yourself in a kind of very magical location. It clearly is this kind of druidic grove of some kind, but not one you've ever been to. But you do recognize the woman before you, a woman who looks a lot older than when you last saw her. You were effectively part of her congregation, or maybe flock is the term they'd use, growing up. But as we kind of discussed last session, the faithful life isn't for Christina, and eventually you sort of sought to cut your own path through life, and you turned away from following the path of Eos, the Knowing One. But despite that, the druid who you call Noel, but her real name is Idnuel, stuck out as this figure of this knowing figure in your life, someone who has knowledge beyond themselves, and especially being a druid of Eos, the Knowing One, clearly felt like a good person to reach out to in this time of uncertainty for you. And yes, you see them sat on this sort of bench for you. Again, grey dreads, sagging, sunken skin, but you can see lots of wrinkles, like smile wrinkles, around the eyes, around the sort of mouth. And as she does look up, she beams to behold you like, Christina, it's been a long time since I've seen you. How are you, child?
I'm having a time.
You watch as she kind of like stands up. You can hear like old bones kind of creaking. And she stands up to her full 8 foot tall.
Hi.
This huge orcish woman stands up. Long braids running down her body. That's very good. In times of crisis, turning to Eos the Knowing One is always a good thing. But I am sorry to hear that you are having a time, as you put it. I must be something, indeed, a conundrum to bring you back. I thought you one of the lost ones, one of the ones who were turned from the path of Eos, the path of knowing.
I mean, I don't need you to patronise me and say that I've gotten lost. Thank you. I made my choices. Just saying. I'm not necessarily here for a spiritual enlightenment, but I have been presented with a task that requires me to leave this world and this existence. I wanted a second opinion.
And a second opinion you shall grant it. No spiritual enlightenment or guidance needs to happen here. I'm not here to bring you back into the flock. Eos is a giving being, and they give their knowledge freely to those who would listen. I do not need no commitment or anything from you, so I'm more than happy to help guide you and supply you knowledge. Although in the interest of knowledge sharing and sharing alike, I do have a question for you first, if you would not mind indulging me before we come to the specific query you have. She sort of gestures a hand to the side, and you see there is a statue wrought in marble. There's kind of like, you know how marble has those kind of black veins that kind of go through it. There's this pillar that goes up. And but at the top, the black veins kind of spread and grow to the point where it is almost like a gradient of going from white marble, it comes black marble with white gradient through it. But you see there is a statue of a raven.
Ah!
A most peculiar thing happened to me the other day. I had a talking raven find its way into my grove, relaying a message from one Christina Christmas. My question to you is, how is it you have come into the friendship of a Creador, the spirit of secrets?
What, Dora? He's just like raven that my auntie has.
Just a raven that your auntie has.
Yeah, Dora.
So you are not aware of what or who they are, then?
No, they're kind of like a bit weird about that.
I imagine that is in their nature. Well, let me inform you so that you can move forward in knowing confidence.
Ooh.
A Creador is, funny enough, somewhat of an old rival of Eos. Eos being an ancient archfey of knowledge. Their duty in life is to collect all knowledge and share it as widely as possible. They're the roots spreading across them. She stops herself and goes, sorry, I apologize. I was not here to proselytize to you. Eos is a being of knowledge. But in the ancient times when the ancient Fae walked more of this world, Eos had a rival. A being who took the form of a raven. A Creador. The secretive one. Creador is the epitome, the embodiment of secret keeping. They gather knowledge, and they hold tight to their chest. So I thought it fascinating when this ancient being, almost as old as the world itself, arrived on my doorstep carrying a missive from one Christina Christmas. You say that they're a friend of your... I beg your pardon, I spoke over you. Do say again.
No wonder he's so cranky.
I imagine that might be so. You say he's a friend or companion of your auntie? Is that what you said?
Just around. Not a friend nor foe.
For you, Christian, as you kind of like hearing this kind of news for the first time, you are reminded of a particular wording that a creator mentioned, which is, "We were summoned by Madame Morgrave," when referring to himself and Scrim.
Right.
And so it makes you kind of wonder if some sort of agreement between Madame Morgrave and this ancient fey being that actually turns out to be this slightly balmy raven you talk to occasionally is... Yes, you should know that a creator often travels with a companion. Scrim, the curious one. They are the embodiment of curiosity and seeking out knowledge. They often go as a pair. One finds, one keeps.
Oh.
One thing I thought you should know. But to your actual purpose of being here, I will not hold you back any longer. The matters you speak with are end of the world, saving the world from it. They are somewhat beyond my personal realm of knowledge, but luckily, this is what Eos does best. And she gestures to this ethereal tree that kind of is at the center of this grove. This is one of the saplings of Eos, through which is a conduit for all of Eos's knowledge, and the blessing that they share with us. Now, where I am currently in my physical body, I have connected to Eos, communing with them, and I have then, using magic, entered your dreams to create a conduit, a connection. In short, I am going to allow you to commune with Eos directly, to tap into the root mind and seek questions that you may need the answers to. And she sort of walks slowly towards Eos and kind of holds out her hand to take your hand. And you watch as she puts her hand on the trunk of this sapling of Eos, as she called it. And as she does, you watch as where her hand touches it, there is this kind of like, it looks like it's within the bark, but it's kind of outlined in gold, kind of forms around her hand, and then spirals out amongst the tree, looking like kind of like veins of gold. And you watch as around where her hand touches, the ethereal part of the tree becomes more solid as these tendrils spiral out. You only take my hand, and we shall commune to the root mind together. And you do so. You put your hand in her. Her hand is very large compared to yours. This orcish hand gently kind of wraps around you, almost like cradling your hand. And as it does, you feel this incredible this expansion of your mind as you are thrusted, and it feels both an instant but also as if it takes 1,000 years. Your mind expands through various roots and connectivity network. You feel these kind of points almost like across a continent, several of these saplings all connected together, all sharing knowledge. And you know wordlessly in your mind that you can ask 3 questions to Eos in this time. You will get yes, no. So basically what this is going to be is equivalent of casting what's called the commune spell. So usually this is kind of a clerical spell, but you contact your deity or a divine proxy and ask up to 3 questions that can be answered with a yes or no. You must ask your questions before the spell ends, that's fine. And you receive a correct answer for each question, obviously within the, divine beings aren't necessarily omniscient, so you might receive unclear, but, and if the question pertains to information that lies beyond the deity's knowledge, in case where a one-word answer could be misleading and contrary, the GM might offer a short phrase instead. But yes, essentially you can ask 3 questions, Eos, and you'll get yes, no answers, or maybe a bit more if it's something that can't be explained with a yes, no question.
Okay.
And obviously it is limited to what Eos knows.
Right.
But again, they are the knowing one. They are a being of knowledge, so you'd hope as much. They should have a lot of knowledge.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Is Arkmadoon real?
You ask the first and most important question.
Yeah.
You feel, obviously the whole reason you're here, really, you feel this mind, this your mind racing down, almost like tunnels, as you kind of feel it kind of pushing through various roots that cover almost, it feels like the entire world. Roots that connect into other roots, connect into trees and other plants. Again, in an instant, but also takes 1,000 years, and it comes back. And you feel this pang, it's almost emotional pang of incredible disappointment.
Oh.
As the word kind of clears in your mind of, it's not even unclear, it's I don't know. And it's just disappointment from Eos, who just is not aware of what this is, cannot confirm nor deny. This is something that seems even beyond their knowledge. Though in a kind of almost like a Google search kind of thing, like, did you mean, there's almost, you feel another, almost like an alternative question presented to you. You ask, is Archmadoon real? And when you ask that question, it can sense your intent, like, this is an event, this is the end of the world. And like, they don't, it's not that they can confirm, deny, they're not even aware of that being a thing. But they almost offer an alternative question, which is, would you like to know what Archmadoon means?
Well, if they can only give me a yes or no answer, then I can't ask what Archmadoon means, surely.
Well, this is me stretching those rules slightly. So, the question is, do you want to know what Archmadoon means?
Yeah.
Your mind kind of races to another pocket, and you feel clarifying this phrase. It's almost as if like you're remembering things that you didn't know you knew. That's how this feels. And suddenly, of course, it's old giantish, and it means start again. The word Archmadoon is an ancient dialect of giants called giantish, and the word itself actually just means start again. Which, although it doesn't confirm if it's real or not, that definitely aligns to what Madame Morgrave explained to you about Archmadoon. This kind of a new world forming after an old one ended, and a cycle that continues and continues.
Yeah.
You are left. That is effectively your first question still. So you are left with 2 more questions. Should you want?
Oh, sick. I want more. Is the renewal of this world, where we may lose everything we currently know, a bad thing?
There is a pause again, and there's almost this kind of like, you sense that this has been answered not in a definite, but almost like a philosophical kind of response. And you say, yeah, is the cleansing of the world and starting again, losing of all knowledge and starting again, is that a bad thing? And the answer you get is no.
Is my auntie's quest my destiny?
You once again feel this kind of the root mind stretch throughout the entire network as it expands. No.
Ah, okay.
But when this is no, it's not that you understand that no, not to mean that it is not your destiny to do this. It's more your destiny is not set. It could be your destiny to do this. It is entirely your choice, is what you get from this root mind. It is not something that is like written in the stars that you must be the one to do this.
Yeah.
You feel that connection through Idnuel's hand fade. Your mind shrinks back to it's self-contained within one person. Every other piece of knowledge that your mind connected to in those moments leaves you, and you are left with the answers to the questions that you asked, floating within your mind, now part of your own consciousness. Idnuel takes a hand off the tree, which you watch then reverts back to that ethereal kind of version of itself. And she kind of continues to hold your hand and goes, I hope you found what you needed. I hope you found what you were looking for. And should you ever need more knowledge, you can always come home, Christina. We can always commune through your saplings of Eos together. Remember that.
Thank you very much.
You're very well.
For your rapid response.
I will leave you to rest.
Cheers.
But I hope you will be well, and perhaps our paths may cross again. She
Yeah.
lets go of your hand, and you feel this kind of world just kind of fade into a peaceful, dreamless sleep that you have, Christina.
Mm.
You guys will wake up at, one of the various points of the day, probably on that last day. And obviously you can discuss this. I think the only thing we were going to do before we come to that is, Pebble, you want to do a bit of training with...
Yay!
We also want to buy some stuff.
You want to buy some stuff. We'll cover that in a second.
We gotta go. We want
I want to
go
cover the training
shopping,
quickly.
Yes.
to Sarah. And to Bear. No, not really.
Yeah.
Um.
So with the training, this can go one of kind of two ways. Depending on how Pebble and / you and I want to handle this, we can either work towards Pebble not becoming a wild magic sorcerer. So there are several pathways that you could be instead.
Sorcerer.
For example, a divine soul sorcerer. So you could, but in the kind of implication here is that because you are this very emotional sorcerer, your power is drawn from within you and only within you, and it causes you to be a little chaotic at times.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, you could, in similar kind of what Gable was talking about, you could turn to religious practices to kind of control your magic. There's also other things you could do. You could study ancient history and kind of look at how old draconic sorcerers used to study and stuff like that. So what you'd do is basically would work towards you changing your subclass, and you wouldn't be a wild magic sorcerer any longer. Alternatively, if you're like, Pebble is this is who Pebble is, but Pebble always wants to control it better, you can spend more time practicing and trying to essentially control your emotional regulation, in which case the wild magic dice we use would essentially expand to a point where you are less likely to have problems with your magic.
Yeah, I think.
And it's also, you can kind of do both. Like, you could go, I want to control my wild magic more now, but later, a few sessions time, you can like, actually, fuck it, I want to become a...
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, it feels like the wildness of this magic feels like too short-lived yet, so... Pebble's gonna continue being wild.
Okay.
Oh, bless you. The problem is that Unai wants more chaotic stuff to happen, not less, but that doesn't play with the story, so that's fine.
Well, here's the
we'll
thing,
find the chaos in other venues.
You always find the chaos, and here's the thing, as you go up more levels, you get more spells, which means you cast more spells, which means you're going to trigger wild magic more.
Fantastic.
So it'll always happen.
Yeah, let's do that. For now, let's not do a subclass for now.
That's fine. So you spend basically the couple of days in the battle room working with Gable. I imagine Tali probably joins along, maybe even Christina, as you kind of working through these kind of very kind of basic practices, showing you, Pebble, especially some like basic forms of magic, which you may not have known.
Yay.
I will say at the end of the 2 days, your wild magic dice, so for you, we obviously have that D4 we roll. That's now going to be a D6. So on a 1, you still have the wasted spell, and then on a 6 now will be the wild magic.
Very nice.
And essentially you have the 2, 3, 4, and 5 will be the spell goes off as normal. So it expands.
Wait, was that the D4? How the D4 worked? So
Yes.
So the one
If you have
means
one-
that it doesn't work. That's all.
Yeah, you waste a spell slot, no spell
I
happens,
forgot.
and on 4 you had the spell worked, but also wild magic. So
Cool.
now it's a case of you have
Same.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Very good.
That's fine. So we'll do a quick sort of supply run. So what do people? We won't play this out, but what do people want before you head into the Labyrinth Librarium? I will say that if you ask anyone, is explain to you that you will not be in there for like days upon days. So like you shouldn't need like food supplies and rations.
Yeah.
There's a list in the players
Handbook, yeah.
under entering gear, I think.
See if one of them do something clever with the.
Pad's running quite low on crossbow bolts.
There we go. Yeah, so is Pebble.
Can Tali make like part of the downtime? Like, can Tali make some holy water? I think I can do it with ceremony. And I would have had time.
It does cost you some money, but it costs a spell. But yes, as long as you got the As long as you got the monetary value, I'm happy for you to do that. 25 gold, I think.
So how? It's 250 steps.
Yes.
Oh,
That's a lot.
yeah, maybe not actually, because that's a lot.
I have some spare. I'm rich. Like, I don't know why.
Good for Pebble.
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah, if you ask Chad, Chad will probably help you.
yeah,
that.
same with Pebble.
If you wanna split the cost of that.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of money, so I could put some of the bill in. Yeah.
So I got now. Does anyone else want to get anything else?
Checking my inventory. Sorry, this is
As
like.
far as crossbow bolts concerned, I think what I've always said is while you're in cities, I don't care about the sort of the number you've got. So we can say you just put them back to 20, and then while you're in the labyrinth, it's fine. Because I think I said it very early on, like. Go on.
Sorry, they're at 6 at the moment, so that's
make it up to 20, which is a full set. I think what I said early days was basically when you are in cities, the Five Fellows supplies you with the basic stuff of that.
Cool.
So it also means when you're kind of running around cities, you also don't have to mark it down particularly. But going to someone like the Labyrinth Librarium, and when you went to the forest, that's when you mark it down because it matters. So don't worry about that one.
A rope.
A rope?
Like, do people have ropes?
Oh, that's.
Just
I've
to see
got
what happens
50
upon-
feet of
Yeah.
hempen rope. Yep.
I have 50 ropes.
Does Tali, have you still got your net? Or has that been? I can't remember if that's been destroyed
I have
left
two.
somewhere.
I have one left still.
Cool.
And we have do I have the horn of Silent Up?
Oh, that's a good point.
I think Tali might have given it
not-
to somebody. I don't remember who I gave it to. Was it Pebble?
What? Say again.
The
Horn of Silent Alarm.
Probably wouldn't put it on your sheet though. Is the thing. I mean, we can just say I have.
I didn't. I mean,
I guess but more importantly, who wants to have it? Let's just give it to them.
I can keep hold of it. Who have no
Yeah, okay.
I don't
So
know.
Tali has
I'd
it.
trust Tali with it.
Yeah, same.
Do we still have the blessing of the forest, or was that run out
You
by
do.
now?
You have that for like another you only got it yesterday.
Well, it's been like 3
Been a
days
couple
now.
days, yeah.
If we're at the
That is
we're
fair.
on,
You're right. You
we're
are at
on
the end of the
day
calendar. Let me
10, and that was the beginning of day 7.
let me get. I've got my calendar up here. My little spiky calendar.
Also, I think you have to remove my third eye too.
Oh, that point needs to go. Yes, I'll get rid of that in a second. So today's date is which is Soul Day. Yes, you're on the 4th day of the blessing, and it runs for 7 days. So you're good.
Neat.
So
What do you do again?
Bump your constitution score.
Ooh, nice.
yeah, good. So we
I'll remove
are
the eye.
Oh, let's
because
get
the day that we got that was the day that we arrived here.
Yes.
We've had
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. This is the 3rd day. Is this the 3rd day or the 4th day that we're here?
1, 2, 3, 3rd day. 4th day, if you include that day.
Oh, is it 7, 8, 9, 10? Yeah, cool. So we're on day 10 overall.
Yes.
Sorry, day 9. I'm counting the session 0 as a day.
That's fair. Yeah, so on the 9th day in game.
Yep.
Cool.
Longest week ever, guys.
Lol.
Also, I don't. Oh no, yeah, it's fine.
I'm moving that from you.
Yeah. Okay.
Would it be possible to safely leave some money here? Well aware that Chad's now running around with nearly 300 sept,
Very nice.
sort of rattling around in his pockets.
You can leave it here. You can leave it at the manor, or you can leave it with Burchard, because Burchard has, it's a business that has a safe.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're also building a safe in the.
Yeah.
That is a
So-
good point.
So you can definitely leave money with Burchard if you want. What I
Yeah.
would probably say to make
That's
it
cool.
easier is if you, in like your other items section or other column, like write down how much you're leaving at the pub. Go keep it in your character sheet.
Other possessions.
I will
Saves
say
me
that,
having to remember stuff.
I will say that Tali makes the holy water. We'll figure out how we split the money later. We can do it after session.
Yeah.
That's so important. But yeah, that's fine. I think that's everything that I want to get.
Okay.
I think
Nice.
Pebble would want. I don't know. I don't know what to invest in. I don't even know what my choices are. But we can do this off stream.
Yeah, if there's anything you feel like a burning passion you need, we can do it after the
I
stream.
don't
It's
know.
not end of the world.
I don't know, man.
Chances are, like, you guys will have adventuring kits, so you'll have a lot of the basic
Yeah.
stuff you'll need.
Yep.
And also, the thing is, you're going to a place that it's easier to buy equipment for a journey you understand and know where you're going to.
Yeah.
So you can obviously, ask more about the Labyrinth Librarium if you want to try and get a better feeling for what might be there.
For sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Is it more labyrinth or more library?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a hard 50-50 there, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Is it
Was it
more
skewing more to
grave? Sorry, more grave.
More grave or more mana?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes.
Yeah, I could.
Cool.
Yeah, we could do with some extra info.
Yeah, okay, so we'll say you approach Madame Morgrave at some point. She explains to you that this is a pocket dimension that was created by her mother, who was a powerful witch. Essentially a repository for knowledge. So another one of these. Keep finding various repository knowledge. It is secured, as you know, because it can only be opened by 2 Genesis relics. It needs them both to open it, which is quite a hefty security measure. And it was also explained to you that once the doorway is opened, it only stays open for 3 hours, upon which time it will close. It is advised that you
Not to
are
worry.
not within the labyrinth when it closes.
Very nice. Speaking of the rope, now that we know this, we might,
50 feet or 50 meters, whatever. It's not that long.
not that long.
So-
Let's buy some. Pebble will buy more rope. It doesn't have to be like super sturdy. It's just to track our steps back. It's like super useful, isn't it? We
Yeah, it
could
could
do
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pebble will buy like I don't know,
How much?
2 miles. No. 2 miles of rope. Pebble's gonna become rope.
I'll tell you how much it costs first, and then you can decide how much
Yes.
you want. Rope. Let's have a look. Set.
Rope.
Or okay, no, one second.
It's 10 steps per 50 feet for hempen rope. If you want silk rope, that's
hempen.
100 steps per 50 feet.
I mean, who wants silk for their ropes? That's like counterproductive, isn't it? Like it's just like you slip if you're gonna climb on anyway.
It's not, yeah. So it'd be less for climbing, more for like tying stuff up. It's also lighter, I think, is the major benefit. But you probably don't want.
We want
silk ropes.
our hands to be cut by the hemp. Anyway, sorry for the imagery.
More
What-
casks for grip.
Let's have like a tiny,
It's
tiny,
1
tiny.
gold, it's 10 silver, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's have a
1 gold,
tiny,
10 silver.
tiny brainstorming thing about how is best to trace our steps back in that labyrinth. What materials do we need? Like, is the rope the best idea? Should we use another thing? Should we like breadcrumbs? I don't know, breadcrumbs on a rope just in case there's a failsafe. Ideas? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have any to be honest.
I'm happy for you guys to discuss this in or out of character if you want.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Just trying to see if I have any magic that would potentially help.
Oh, nice.
I'm not sure I do.
Yeah,
though.
some kind of like magic marking. I don't have any. My other character from the other stream has it. No.
I mean,
well,
there's
one.
basically things like you can buy things like chalk and stuff like that. So you could like draw on the walls as you
Just buy some
travel.
chalk, actually,
Oh
like,
yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
nice.
which is a bit-
I'm not even going
less,
to charge you for chalk. Just add it to your equipment. Like
less
the mansion,
expensive.
the manor probably has chalk you can take.
Cool. That's
The
good
craft
thinking.
room.
Can I?
Yes.
I mean, I'm gonna take it with Tali, like 1 piece each, I suppose.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna write it down.
You can all have a piece of chalk if you want one. Because what is an
You
alchemist
get some
workshop?
chalk, and you get some chalk.
Because what is an alchemist workshop if it's not just an adult's craft room?
Very true. Okay.
Cool. Fantastic. So let's. Pebble's gonna buy rope anyway as well
Yep,
because I
fine.
think it's useful. How
Yeah,
many?
so-
How much for?
So it costs 10 steps per rope, per
And-
50 feet of rope.
Yeah, that's it.
There is a certain thing where rope is quite heavy, so realistically, Pebble, you couldn't have loads and loads of it.
Yeah.
I'll say realistically, you could probably at most, I'll say, have 3 of them, and you already got 1.
Do I have one?
I think so.
No.
If not, then you'd have up to 3.
Yeah, no, Pebble's only gonna buy 1 because it's not our strategy to get out of the
That's fine.
labyrinth anymore.
So in which case, yeah, reduce your money by 10 silver, and then add a rope to your inventory.
I'm gonna buy a net. They're also 10 silver.
No worries.
I might buy 2 actually.
Oh, it doesn't do the conversion between silver, gold, and all that.
Should
We'll get another couple of.
It does if you go into the. It should. Oh, maybe no, it doesn't when you take it away.
Belt to remove coins. The minimum amount of. Ah, I see. I understand. I have to enter the. Yeah. Okay. I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
What is Chad gonna do?
And Chad will get another couple of reams of rope.
Yeah.
He's got 50 feet at the moment, but yeah. he'll get what 2 more.
Yeah, I'll say even for your strength, Chad, it's still they're also quite large things. So 3, I'd say, is realistic.
So what's that?
Just
20 for another 100 feet.
yes, yeah.
Cool. Done and done.
Right. What can I add? How can I add it? Okay. Oh, I can put things in my backpack. I have everything outside of my backpack. That's weird.
It doesn't matter too much.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
I don't get. So in some ways people play is like very like specific about like endurance, how much you can carry, and things like backpacks can technically only carry so many items if you're going by those rules. But I don't care about that. So
Cool.
It's always the worst bit of any Fallout or Skyrim game when you get over encumbered and you have to walk at like snail's
Oh,
pace.
it's the worst.
I mean, there are like in
Like,
D&D.
how do I get rid of all my junk?
In things like D&D, there are like I think the right campaign it can be quite fun because like if you're playing like a survival campaign where like you're only going to see civilization every once in a while and you're properly like chucking like food and water and stuff like that, then how much stuff you can carry becomes a bigger deal. When
it's kind of
you guys get free bed and board at a pub that you work for, not so important.
Yeah, it was kind of the one of the original things, wasn't it? It was like, cool, half of your challenge was raiding the dungeon, the other half of the challenge was figuring out how you get all the gold out of it.
Correct.
So yeah.
Well, also back in those sort of days, because I got this book that I bought recently, which is like a rewording of like old school rules, so I kind of take some inspiration from that. But I didn't realize in like older versions in D&D, your experience points was directly tied to how much money you took back from the dungeon.
Oh.
The game wasn't about killing monsters or anything like that. It was you got one gold piece is 1 experience point. So how much money you got out of the dungeon was how much experience you got.
Interesting.
It's a completely different dynamic and ecosystem because it was not about And it's things like sometimes you'd find monsters and you'd like throw money down to get away from them to distract them, but that meant you're getting less experience.
Interesting.
So the whole economics of it was completely different, which is fascinating to me. And I think at some point I'd like to try and run like a one shot or something using those old school rules to kind of like figure it out.
That'd be cool.
But anyway, but also those games are much less on the sort of role play side, so probably wouldn't be something I'd stream. Anyway, anything else you guys want to buy?
Not for now.
Okay.
I might. I don't know.
Yeah, we can talk about
Some
train
kind of
sessions.
like
We'll obviously have
defense mechanism thingy.
we'll obviously have the 2 weeks to sort that out. So,
Yeah.
okie dokie.
Okay.
The end of the down couple of days. Chad, very notably, you don't see Brask a lot over these days. It seems like he's intentionally avoiding you. Something has happened. You don't really understand how or why, but ever since you've shown Tali's blood, he seems very off with you. Which I imagine, considering that he's one, the old Chad Brask bromance going on, it's probably quite devastating for Chad, honestly.
Yeah.
That something that to you is quite innocuous has had quite a profound effect on him. But the first time you see him again is when you eventually are gathered by Madame Morgrave. You probably would be gathered in like one of the sitting rooms, as it's been treated a bit like a war room / gathering space. And you and also the squad of Mythics will arrive. You see that they are fully like geared and kitted up now.
Ooh.
Apart from Baron, who pretty much, like Chad, always is in armor and stuff like that, the rest of them have been in various sort of degrees of like dressed down, so to speak, especially like Raz and Gable. Whereas you see like Gable, especially now, is wearing this kind of like leather padded wizard robes. There is some sort of like armor going on there. He's got a proper like backpack going on, a large spell book strapped to his back. Raz is wearing these kind of like proper like rose leathers and has like several daggers kind of in a bandolier around the front. Chunk obviously is a statue, doesn't need armor, but you can see there is a strapped to their back is essentially like basilica. What am I talking about? No.
Bandolier? What does it
The
hold?
big old crossbow.
Oh,
A ballista.
Ballista.
Yeah,
It's almost like
ballista.
ballista-sized crossbow stuck to their back. They have
Owl,
various
yeah.
like metal canisters like on them, like strapped to them. They are basically like a walking armory at this point. You obviously see Baron, his big round shield and spear, get that kind of Spartan look, and for the first time for a lot of you, Hesperia is here. You see she's wearing these kind of like cloth robes, very brightly coloured. As described before, she kind of looks a bit like funny enough, a male pigeon, but like kind of grey feathers with those very like vibrant colours coming out of it. But she, apart from that, doesn't seem to have a lot of equipment. Although notably, she has these like talon-like claws on her, both her hands and also feet. So you wonder if maybe she doesn't need too much. But you all have been gathered here in the sort of sitting room. Madame Morgrave is here, and Eretha Christmas is here as well, but she's sort of taking a bit of a back seat, kind of wishing you all well. I guess like Madame Morgrave's standing at the centre, like, good, okay. Is everyone now prepared? You've got all the equipment you need and ready to go, because once the doorway to the Labyrinth Librarium is open, it will only remain open for 3 hours, upon which time it will close. Now nor as Eretha, we have not been into the labyrinth ourselves. We've heard stories of it, but Genesis relics, as we have been discussing, are incredibly hard to come by. This is not a journey we've undertaken, so I cannot fully explain to you the dangers you may face in there. I know it is a dangerous place. It is, as the name suggests, a labyrinth. It will be confusing, winding. It is full of many dangers. There will be creatures designed to ensnare and capture you. Part of the defense of this place is that time that it is open for. There will be things there designed to slow you down, to get you lost and confused. And very likely there will be traps built into this place as well, probably designed to do the same thing. If not just outright kill you. But what you are looking for there is somewhere within this maze there should be a central chamber, probably near the center of the maze. And in there is a tome written by our mother. It is a tome of prophecies written by her. Unfortunately, that is all we know of it. We don't know if it has a name. We don't know if it was, a scroll, a book. But it is an item of great importance. I would hope to imagine it would stand out to you. If I'm thinking about this clearly, I imagine it will likely be protected by some sort of guardian, and by the nature of being protected by a guardian should hopefully help you figure out what you're looking for.
cool.
Insight check, please.
Sure. Yeah, roll an insight check. What are you going for?
Is this woman like legit saying everything and meaning it?
Sure. Natural one.
I hate it.
You, Christina, has had this kind of, for you, this whole event has been like an awful family Christmas. Like, you've been around your grandmother, who's sort of been trying to be very pleasant to you, but you're in a mood with her. Your great auntie you've never met before. You kind of think she's a bit cool, but also you're sending you on trying a task you don't want to do. There's a lot of mixed emotions going on, and once again, you can't help Christina just going through your mind do I actually want to do this? And like, it's a point where you're not really even paying attention to a lot of what she said because you're just sitting there like, do I want to like? Even now, you're not even sure if you want to go into the labyrinth itself. You're just kind of floating on that idea. But you, at the very least, you know that your companions are ready to go or want to go. So like, maybe just open the door and let them go. Maybe I'll stay outside. Maybe like, oh, what did she say? Oh.
Oh, that's so rubbish. Well, by logic of I don't want to abandon my friends, like I'm obviously going to go in, but like based on, have we discussed religion? Does Madame Morgrave? Obviously, you would have been like what her beliefs are.
So what Madame Morgrave's beliefs are?
Would she follow the church?
I'll give you a shortcut on that one. You don't think Madame Morgrave is religious, particularly. She seems almost, to kind of her mind, above all of that. But she doesn't, like... Because obviously this is a typical fantasy world, and gods are real, even religions have there is a point to them. There is a... Just because she is this kind of erudite woman who is very knowledgeable and believes in the arcane for the arcane's sake, doesn't mean she dismisses the religions out of hand as being like false or trite. Like there will be truth within what they do. So she sees a purpose in the religion, but she's not going to go and dedicate her life to them or follow their rules.
Right.
Which is her attitude towards the whole Archimedean myth. Like she understands it's part of like the religious myth, and she'll take certain parts like, this part is true, but I don't care for that part. So that's your understanding of that. But that does remind me, before we got to this scenario we're in right now, Christina, did you tell any of your party about the information you got from EOS?
No.
No. Okay, that's fine. That makes it easy.
Shit. Also, I would have by this point I would have talked to Tali about the dream and stuff like that.
Like
Yes.
the dream of your like
Playing
bad-
in the forest,
Yeah.
disc, and also the
Yeah.
parents.
That's fair.
So for what would that? It would just be it. Just
Just the chat.
okay.
And it's
I mean,
like,
I don't know. I don't think Tali. You haven't like Tisk hasn't been mentioned. You haven't told anyone about Tisk before, have you?
I don't know. I don't think so. And yeah, about this thing about like how I was approaching Madame Morgrave to try and restore, my original form at will, and how I'm a hobgoblin and I might have always been, and all that. Yeah, all those sweet things. Yeah, just casual chat, no pressure.
No pressure.
Nothing to think about.
Would Tali have had any response to any of that? Like anything that needs to be done now?
Not anything specific. Like would be
Like,
generally
yeah.
understanding. Like suggest maybe they can like the rest of like her and the rest of the party can maybe help you with it if you wanted when we're out of this. And,
Sweet though. I don't think I need to cover myself. I'll need to cover myself inside the labyrinth full of magic anyway.
no.
You're probably quite safe on that front.
Yeah.
Ad's only response to the pep talk, if you can call it that, is to kind of turn to. I imagine he sat next to Baron as well. Yeah, don't worry, nothing we can't handle, and he's going to go for a shield fist bump.
Amazing.
With Baron.
Yeah, you see Baron's like, ha! No, we've seen the smaller mighty and the squad of misfits. We've got this underhand. And he goes, ha! And sort of gives it back to you.
And now you both roll a death saving throw. No.
Yeah. We both break our
The
arms.
shockwave and the vibration. No.
I will say, I guess, that before like the party, like we opened and we go in, like Tali would gather everybody around
Yeah.
and give them a little pep
Scrum.
talk, like like a little huddle, like look, I know this is scary and we don't know what's in there and we have a limited time, but if we just stick together and focus, don't get separated, mark our way, we go in, we know what we're there for, get in, we find it, we get out, we'll be okay. We can do this. And
We'll be
she's
fine.
going to cast motivational speech, so everybody gets 5 temporary hit points.
Oh!
That-
It's Chad, Christina, Pebble, Brask, Tali. There's all of us.
Yeah.
I shit
Yeah.
you not, that motivational spark thing synced extremely well with fucking thunder outside with a fucking bright flash.
Ooh.
Very nice.
Like
So-
it.
So also you get 3 hit points, but also if you get attacked, you hang on 1 second. Let me just find the wording out.
Wait, so I added to the temp,
So-
right? It's temp
Yeah,
5.
so you get 5 temporary hit
Yeah.
points. That's fine. For the duration, each effect gets temporary hit points. You get advantage on wisdom saving throws, and if you get hit by an attack, you get advantage on the next attack roll.
How can I express that in my character sheet?
You go to the 10 hit points bit. Oh, no, sorry, that bit you
I
just
will
remember.
remember, and I will.
Cool.
Yeah, you just have to remember that part of
Lovely.
stuff.
That
Excellent.
does not count as inspiration at all, right?
Nope.
No.
It's just temp hit points. Oh,
It's a spell called Inspirational Speech, but it's not
Yeah.
inspiration.
cool.
There's motivation. She's
Motivation.
just kind of like little huddle. I've got this.
Yeah.
You know, all very powerful. Power of magic.
You can see while you've been doing that, the Squad of Misfits are doing something like that. They're doing like a go team.
Yeah.
We've got that kind of thing going on.
And
You
then-
can see that Baron is way more into it than anyone else.
Yes, yes. But
Excellent.
then I
Like
imagine
you watch as Chunk does it, wordlessly does it. Gable kind of like awkwardly does
Go
it, like he's
team,
trying to
yeah.
like impress impress Baron's like, ha! Baron's just like, yeah, go team. Hesperia doesn't do it.
Yeah. And
She stands in
wouldn't-
the huddle awkwardly.
Just stands
She's
there.
standing upright, and they're all huddled.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're
yeah,
like-
yeah.
You watch as she puts a hand out because she's like confused what's going on. But when they put their hands up, she just puts her hand back and just like, the first time you hear her speak, pretty much she goes, "I'm not doing that."
I have a question for Will. Wouldn't Will be compelled by that action to
You run
try-
over, do the
to
join the
try
huddle.
Yeah.
to outdo them?
That, Chad's gonna be like, yeah, like after seeing that and after feeling the sort of the surge of motivation from Tali, he's gonna say, yeah, we've got this, right, Brask. I was gonna do it directly, kind of
Yeah.
just check in with Brask.
And what would Brask?
Brask kind of gives you a sign and like, yeah, we got this, and sort of like steps away from you a little bit.
Right,
Yep.
yeah, good,
It's fucking pouring. Sorry.
got this.
Okay, so you have your little team huddles, and once you've done that, have you anyone any questions further for Madame Morgrave? If not, she'll start leading you.
What
Go.
kind of? Do we have any idea what type, what sort of creature might be guarding the book or the scroll or whatever?
Unfortunately,
Any-
not.
Educated.
Everything I have read is just says a guardian. Educated guesses.
It was your family after all, you know, like what, you know.
Our mother was very strange.
Good to
Well,
know.
I've said this before, she'd experienced time backwards. They literally called her. Anyway,
Benjamin Button.
yeah, she explained this before. That the reason why she was so good at prophecy is because she experienced time backwards. So she just wrote about what she had seen in her past, which is the future.
Yes.
Her name was Liuba the Weird. I mean, a classic kind of guardian would be some sort of golem. But I'd expect a large creature, very powerful, capable of, as a singular unit, handling many threats. Possibly a construct of some sort would be my guess, but it could also be a bound demon, sworn to service. It's really impossible to tell, unfortunately. A large creature, I would be almost willing to put money on it. But what nature, I couldn't say.
Cool. That's nice.
Okay. Should we proceed then? She sort of looks around the room, and you can see the Squad of Misfits. It's easy to say that they are infused, but it is mostly just Baron.
Yeah.
It just has enough enthusiasm that it makes it seem like the whole squad is infused.
Oh.
Pebble confidently hyperventilates.
Good.
I will.
Um,
Tali will give a dream catcher probably to Pebble, and just tell him to hold on. Just hold on to this, and if we get lost, I might be able to find you through that.
Cool. Thank you very much. I will try to find you too. If we get lost. I don't know how.
And then yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys, you are led down by Madame Morgrave toward the battle room. Interestingly enough.
Oh.
You watch as you've been described. Every time you open this door, it turns into what you want the room to be. But she steps forward and puts her hand on the door, and as she opens it, you see a very small chamber. Unlike most of the rooms you've been in before, they're like usually open fields or something like that.
Mhm.
You see a room, maybe kind of like 20 by 20 at most.
It's in the battle room, sorry, or is the next?
This is the battle room.
Okay.
She's entered the battle, but this room, it looks actually almost like, if you were to hazard a guess, this may be what this room actually looks like. It looks like a part of the manor. It has the same sort of plastered walls as the manor, same sort of wallpaper as the manor. But the most notable thing about this room is, directly opposite the door you've walked through, is this large, intricate door made of brass. These swirling patterns within it. There are various, you can see kind of shining and shimmering magical runes embedded directly into the brass of this, that glow with this kind of sort of bluish purple light that kind of undulates. And you can see on each side of this double door, there is a small gem slot, essentially, where you can only imagine the gems from the Genesis relics must go.
Do the runes look familiar?
Roll me an Arcana check.
13.
13.
Yeah.
They look familiar in that they are clearly magical runes, but you don't recognize them as anything in particular.
Okay. They're the same color as Tali's runes.
Yes, they do sort of have a similar magical nature to you, yes.
Interesting.
In kind of coloration at the very least, but the actual nature of the runes themselves, they don't look like anything that kind of appears in your body or is used in your magic. Madame Morgrave sort of steps aside and Christina and what? Oh, I'm blanking. No, she wouldn't call him Baron. She'd call him his real name. I'm trying to just blank.
Oh, Hamish.
Hamish. Yes, there we go. I gave them nicknames, and of course, immediately forgot their real names. Christina, Hamish, if you would step forward, and she beckons you to step closer to the door, and please brandish your relics. You watch as Baron very takes out the spear, swing as it goes dung in the ground in front of him, ha.
Okay.
Tali's concerned.
And Christina does the same, but with an amulet.
Just slams it into the ground. But yes, Christina, do you step forward and present your relic as well?
I guess so.
Yeah. Do you? I guess maybe kind of timidly or almost despondently. You kind of hear. You sort of step similar, adjacent to Baron, and as you do, there is this bright glow, and you feel this kind of vibration of power coming from within the amulet. And all of you watch as this bright blue light starts to glow from Christina's amulet, and a bright yellow light from the gem within the spear.
I prefer blue. Sorry.
And Christina, it's a very weird thing that that undulation of power, that vibration, suddenly stops as you watch the gem itself just starts to float away from the amulet and up towards the door.
No.
And you watch the same thing within Baron's spear. The gemstone there starts to float away.
Oh, well, it's
And the two of them spin. They kind of circle each other as they do, just slowly. And eventually, you see them float just above the slots of the door. And then there's they just touch. You watch as energy and runes flow through the door itself, crackling like lightning, but in purple and blues. Then there's
lovely.
And the door itself starts to slide apart. As it does, you watch as the gemstones then suddenly float back towards the respective relics.
Oh, that's nice.
As this door opens, and you see not a room, not a chamber. You see a swirling vortex of blue and purple and blue energy just swirling.
Nice.
A portal from Minecraft.
That's a portal. Yeah, basically, never portal. What I thought you said was, now that's a portal, is what I thought you said.
Now that's what I call
Yes.
a portal.
Portal.
Now we're thinking with portals.
That's what I call portal music.
If you picture a stereotypical portal in your brain, that's what's happening here.
good.
Yes, you see a swirling wall in front of you, this doorway. Madame Morgrave steps to the side and goes, Labyrinth is open.
Well, it's
3 hours. Don't forget.
It's a good thing that, the gems are not expended, at least.
Yeah,
it can
the
be
gems,
open
they
again.
do fly back and they reattach into their respective relics.
Which means it can be open again, but probably it opens in like a different dimension that you cannot, find us or something.
I realize
Anyway,
we don't have a way of telling the time,
But-
so it's gonna be real awkward.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's one thing that we could have bought
but there's
at
there's
the
not.
market.
It's not listed on the in the players.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be listed in the handbook because
basically, yeah.
we can add a stopwatch if you want.
I would love
We can talk
that.
about it between sessions.
Yes.
I would love
Just
to
because,
cast
bear in mind
the-
that default D&D isn't set in an industrial revolution period like my
Fair,
game is,
That's fair.
so it wouldn't be a thing in play handbook. Anyway, we can talk about between sessions. Who's going in first?
I mean,
Hey,
Tali's gonna
Yeah.
0%
Sorry.
pebble.
So
0%.
whatever Tali's doing. I mean, I
Tali
imagine
wants
like
to go in. So.
yeah, Tali wants to go in. Hamish is probably going to stride forward.
Hmm.
Chad isn't going to be outdone by Hamish.
Yeah.
I imagine it's
Never mind.
those three probably.
Hamish is gonna be
Okay,
here. you're
so
gonna
I
go
will
in.
have, just for the fun of it, I'll have initiative rolls from Chad, Tali, and Hamish.
Excellent.
Lovely.
It's a 13. The boy from 13.
Do I use my hero? No.
Good.
Come to the end of the session, if you want to.
No, I'm gonna hold on to it. Might be useful when we get in.
So what did you get, Tali?
18.
18. Did you draw that with your advantage? Because you get advantage at initiative
Mhm.
checks. Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to check Hamish stats, evil shit. So you watch as Hamish is about to stride forward, and then imagine, Tali, you just kind of push him out of the way slightly, and then Chad, you sneak in as the two of you go first. You see Hamish is sort of wait for me, and then comes in as well. As you step, Tali, into this vortex, there is this sort of, when you go down, driving down the road and it goes down a hill quick, you got that kind of feeling in your stomach, that kind of whoosh in your stomach. You feel that suddenly, and then it stops immediately as you find yourself in this dusty, completely dark chamber. You see that there are a number of bookcases on walls, sort of almost like half filled. There's some sort of scrolls in there, a couple of books. You see some of them are collapsed, covered in cobwebs and dust. You also see piles of books on the floor. You are in this old, dusty chamber. The walls themselves are made of kind of this dark sandstone. It looks like a completely different architectural style from anything you've sort of seen before. As you're standing there, you realize you're in the center of this chamber. You haven't just walked through a doorway. You've been plopped in the middle of this room.
Oh, convenient as well, because we were supposed to go to the middle. Well, that's what Madame Morgrave.
This is the middle of a room, not the middle of the whole labyrinth.
Yeah, you're in the middle. This room itself
I
is like a sort of
understand.
30 by 30. It's a very large,
Has a ceiling,
large
right?
has a ceiling. Ceiling is about sort of 30 feet up. It's quite high.
Okay.
As you're standing there, like that, Chad suddenly appears behind you, kind of sort of pushing you slightly, as it seems like maybe the center of this chamber is almost like a teleportation space in of itself.
You make some space.
Yeah. Slowly, well, not slowly, quickly, everyone files into this room as all the small and mighty and all the squad of misfits start to appear in this room. Funny enough, the one person who can't see in the dark is Brass, so he can't see anything. He's just like, where is everybody? As he arrives.
Tali will share.
Your crazy dark vision with him.
Yeah, well, to be fair,
Purple.
probably with I can up to 3. Does everyone else have dark vision?
Everyone does, but they
Pebble
don't have
is sorted.
your insane dark vision.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm
that's
trying to figure out.
If there's anyone in the other team that can benefit from it.
I'll give it to Brask,
Yeah.
to Chad.
Yeah, you do
But
notice
Might
as
be
you kind of
leading.
as you're contemplating this, Baron's like, I can't see a bloody thing in here, and he
And
starts to
the
go to
Baron,
lighting
I
it. Okay, and
guess.
Baron.
I guess.
Is everyone
Well,
else?
do I want to do that? No, I don't want to do that.
Don't know.
Well, I
you also
mean,
hear the Hespia goes, we need a light source.
I'm gonna give it to Hespia. Fuck Baron. But she can fly. She also seems like a bit of a rogue agent, so I guess she could.
Yeah.
be
But you were frenemies. You were a bit.
Yeah, but Tali's going for a frenemies to lover kind of
Yeah,
storyline
that's
here, so
very
this is how you sort that pathway out.
Like Tali, so Tali's eyes will glow like
Yeah.
a purpley.
Well, didn't Chad already have dark vision anyway?
Yeah,
because
but no,
of-
Yeah,
I have
Chad
dark
is-
vision up to 300 feet.
Yes. Tali has an insane dark vision that she can share with people that buffs them, so you give him the brass, Chad, and Hespia. Hespia in the middle is like, need a light source, and then goes, no, never mind, and looks towards you, Tali.
Just dumps.
And gives us a very slight nod in your direction, but then the room fills with actual light as Baron lights a
That's
torch.
fine because it's still useful for distance.
And then he makes a joke, it's like, oh, better be careful of the kindling, eh? Like, and just looking around all these sort of dry books and parchment kind of just scattered around.
Oh no, that's.
Oh, Tali could actually just put a light on him, like if he's holding something.
He's holding a torch, but and it's also got a spear and it's.
Just because otherwise, fire. Yeah, it's a little. I mean, it's fun.
Tali can set him on fire. No, sorry. No. That's not what we are coming from.
Can generate a light.
Yeah, as you are sort of doing your casting stuff, you hear Baron sort of like snaps into action. It's like, right, squad, as we discussed. Gable, have you got that spell scroll ready? You watch as Gable's like, yeah, yes I do, Baron. And starts like pulling some stuff out. You realize that they're kind of like, they were somewhat like battle ready for this, or maybe they're just showing up. You're not sure.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
Oh, it's just a spell that we cast when we start something like this. And you watch as Gable rolls out this scroll and starts reading from it. You hear this kind of reverberation of language as he kind of reads in an ancient tone of some sort of arcane language, but it kind of creates an echo in his voice. It's like, and you then watch.
Oh, I didn't quite catch that, Adam. Can you just do that again for us?
Chad, as you sort of point towards him, making this joke, like, I didn't quite catch that, Gable. Your hand is blasted back as you suddenly watch this golden wall go across the entire room you're in.
Golden wall.
Mm-hmm. A wall of like golden energy, kind of like translucent, but this golden wall of energy. And you watch as Baron goes, sorry, Small and Mighty, this is our destiny. You stay put. We'll come back for you later. Come on, squad, let's go! And you watch as Baron and the rest of the squad of misfits start making their way out of the room, through into another chamber to the south. Gable hangs back for a moment and looks at you guys and goes, I'm sorry.
Oh,
And starts walking.
Gable,
out
don't
following the
you
rest.
leave!
Great, fantastic.
Baron.
That went well.
Bizarre.
What?
That is nice.
Hilarious.
And fantastic, isn't it? Particularly because it's just being like as slow as I am. It's just dawned to me that probably the exit is somewhere else. Anyway. Right.
I don't know if you're going to call the end of the session yet, but I have a spell that might help with this magical box.
Go on.
I want to cast Identify.
Yeah, 100% you can cast it with that. Let me just also change to the map so you guys can see what you're dealing with.
Oh, very good. 1 second.
Which we can share a little
Is
bit.
there another
on-
way out? Is there only one exit?
Oh, that's a
There are
massive
two
map.
exits. You
How
should
do I
see
share
it on
this?
the map.
It's so big. No, sorry, I'm just kidding. It's just.
You should see it on the map.
Okay, so we could just go out the other door.
Yeah, you guys are not actually like, it hasn't like trapped you in the room.
What the fuck was
But-
the
Oh,
point?
okay.
Oh, right, I see.
It's just blocked you off and it's gone off in a different direction.
Right, so we could go out through that door, but
Mhm.
not through the one that they've gone through.
Fantastic.
Yes. So they've gone through the one to the south. You guys can obviously go through the door to the east. Before we do that, I mean, probably won't actually get into the starting to traverse the dungeon this session, but do you want to cast Identify Christina
Yeah.
Christmas? Just read to me what Identify does, just remind myself.
You choose one object that you must touch throughout casting of the spell. If it is a magic item or something other magic imbued object, you learn its properties and how to use them. Blah blah blah. You learn whether any spells are affecting the item and what they are. If the item was created by a spell, you learn which spell created it.
Yes. So this is very much an item that is, well, it's not even an item. This is just a pure spell, essentially. So you learn that this is a Wall of Force spell.
Of what? Of course.
It's called Wall of Force. So you know that this is an invisible wall. Well, invisible. It's not invisible. It's the case, but no man. Springs into existence. The point you choose when raised, the wall appears in any orientation you choose, horizontal, vertical, Essentially, this is a completely impervious wall of energy. It's immune to all damage. It cannot be dispelled by the dispel magic spell. Should you have that? You do know that there's a spell called Disintegrate, which is a high-level spell, which can be used to completely destroy it. And it also extends into the ethereal plane, blocking even that kind of travel through it.
Oh! That's a lot.
You do know that the spell doesn't last incredibly long, so it's not. This is not intended to kind of. Maybe Baron doesn't quite realize that this isn't like going to hold you there forever, but it is something that is clearly meant to delay you more than anything.
I mean, I don't know. Did Baron realize that there's another door to begin with? Like, what's the purpose of this?
They also could have gone. It's a labyrinth. They could have gone the wrong way.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, it's just a crazy.
Maybe they're just full of ego and therefore full of.
I mean, they are.
I mean, that is Baron in a nutshell.
100%. This is.
I also like to read such a spell from a scroll and make a big deal of it. It's just a bit like.
Because he doesn't have that spell. He doesn't
so
have
the
the
reason-
spell.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gable can't. This is not Gable's spell. This is so. If we're thinking about spell scrolls, and Christina can do this as well. If you find a spell scroll, you can cast that spell. It doesn't mean it's one spell you know. You think this is a more powerful spell than Gable would normally be able to cast. This is something that they have found maybe in the manor itself, and they are using it for this purpose.
I'm so mad. Every friend we ever make just fucks.
No.
Yeah.
Also, with identify, it says if the item was created by spell, you learn which spell created it. Does that mean I add
The
that
spell,
spell?
no, you know the name of the spell. So the spell
Okay.
is Wall of Force.
Just a moment of introspection that I don't think Chad shares with anyone, but this is Chad. This is exactly the type of thing that Chad would have done just over a week ago.
Oh god, yeah.
Ooh.
For sure.
This is
I wouldn't have thought
He's,
any
yeah, this is not the type of thing that he would even consider doing at this stage in his career. But yeah,
Which is great.
it absolutely
I'm
is.
very
Yeah,
grateful for that
Going.
change.
this is
Yeah.
Huh.
What a glow up.
Maybe Hamish isn't quite at my level.
Nice. That's a good way of thinking.
And I think with that moment of introspection from Chad, as there's this sort of, I guess, pang of disappointment
Yeah.
from someone you thought would be a peer, and you're realizing again, how much you've grown from your sort of old ways. That's where we'll end today's session.
Very good.
You in what is essentially now a race. The squad of misfits to find whatever prophecy this is.
Neat.
Well done, guys!
Very good.
Well
Well
done for
done.
getting screwed over.
I mean, I've been calling them rivals since they first turned up. They had to do something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
In retrospect, how dare you?
How dare you make us like these people and then have them betray us in a sort of betrayal way, but not quite as bad as the last betrayal way?
I'm banking on the fact that we made friends with Gable, and I gave Hespia cool dark vision, so later they're gonna betray their own friends. Maybe you never know. Maybe they'll help us.
Maybe.
Did good.
I will say very clearly is that Baron is the instigator of this situation. You're not sure where. Clearly, Gable isn't 100% into this, but kind of following along.
Gable's he rolls over. You just like
Yeah.
it's like a doormat.
He's a patsy. Essentially, the rest of them you're not sure.
Hespia,
Chunk is entirely emotionless, so it's hard to know Chunk. Hespia doesn't like Baron, you know that for a fact.
He might like us a tiny bit now.
But you also know that Hespia thinks that she's better than everyone else in the squad of misfits, and probably you guys too. So hard to know where she lies. Raz is in it
She's
for
a
shits and
pirate.
giggles.
She's a pirate.
Yeah. So, but cool.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. So,
Very nice.
well done, everybody.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love it. Let me just get my little outro notes. Yeah, so Sarah, you obviously had the inspiration token. You didn't use it, so we'll just roll it over to next week. So, but I'm just who would you give it to? Were you going to give it over to someone?
Oh, good question. I think Brask, to be honest, for his just sneaking around everywhere, just always.
There's
being
Brass close up. I've put him on close up now. Haha. That's a joke. So.
I don't want to know what you've
But
done.
also, like, shout out to Christina's chat with the big tree. That was very
Oh
cool.
yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
that was very, it was very Terry Pratchett. Like here's some like big serious magic and things. You're like, oh yeah, right. The creator was just like, I know, yeah. It's great.
That guy.
Love it.
Good. So yeah. And to everyone who watched us, thank you for watching us. I hope you enjoyed our session. If you did, you can also catch us again here in 2 weeks' time, where we'll be exploring a labyrinth
Wow.
and trying to catch up with a squad of misfits. Wow, what a bunch of misfits, eh? If you turn off notifications on Twitch, you'll find out when we go live. If you want to rewatch our last session, it is now on YouTube, and this episode will be on YouTube next weekend even. You can also find us on Twitter, where we occasionally tweet stuff.
Yeah.
And that's it. So we've been Small Mighty. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.